Don't cut in line and stop stealing our secrets.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, September 16th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gimbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1069.
This is No Agenda.
Watching the migrant crisis live from Fat Cat City here in downtown Luzerne, Switzerland. In the corner, in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're pre-Zephyr, and I thought I'd catch him off guard. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, yeah. I fumbled a little, but I was taking you up on your challenge right there. I'm not going to mess around.
Yeah, you did.
I wanted to get pre-Zephyr start of the show.
This is our goal.
And it's our goal. Apparently, it's now our goal to start the show pre-Zephyr. So
we used to actually try to start the show at 9.
Yeah. Well,
the Zephyr goes by 9:15, so I think pre-Zephyr is probably not a bad thing.
Hey, did I just say it's Thursday? I keep doing this. It's Sunday.
Did you say it's Thursday on the opening?
And you remember? And do you remember the show, your doubleheader? I said Thursday, and it was Sunday. There's something about Thursdays and Sundays. I keep messing it up.
You did on the other show?
Yes, and you edited that and didn't even catch it.
Well, that's the one thing I don't really pay much attention to. I'm like trying to get ready to give my own intro.
Well, I got the date right at least.
It is Thursday, the wrong date. Yeah, 4 years from now, we nailed it.
Anyway, I apologize. It's Tina. Hey, it's wrong. What are you doing, girl? Go sightseeing. She's in Switzerland and she's listening to the show. What's wrong with that?
Well, I think the show probably is better than the sightseeing in Switzerland.
Well, no, she was out on Lake Lucerne. She's having a good time.
Lake Lucerne is a nice, pretty lake.
Very nice, free lake. And let's just thank the gods for a second for providing us with the jiggas we need to make this show possible from 2 completely different locations on Earth. Where for me it is 6:15 p.m. on Thursday, and for you it's 9:15 a.m. on Sunday.
Sure. I knew they were behind the times in Switzerland. But geez. What year is it?
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I'm in Lucerne, Switzerland today.
Yeah, why?
Well, because tomorrow we're going up to CERN to see the...
Well, that's right. You're going to go actually look at the Hadron. You're going to you'll be feet on the ground at the Hadron Collider.
Yes, the Large Hadron Collider, no less.
How many guys is going to take to throw you in?
Look, this may be the last show, so I'm already drinking. So I'm feeling good. Oh, there it is. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cars, short one.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. How come I didn't have...
You didn't have the foam around?
No, there's something... I'm dealing with different screen real estate here. There we go. I opened up 2 database searches. All right, just pretend you heard the foamer.
Oh, my God.
No, it's more like this.
Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
Beautiful. Yeah, so we're going up to the Large Hadron Collider, and apparently they do have a gift shop.
Of course.
So I will be picking.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, but they've shut it down. I think it's down.
They've got to pay for this collider somehow. The gift shop does it.
It's shut down in these weeks for some kind of maintenance. So they say. Mm-hmm. Who knows what they're really up to?
They have to wait for that black hole to recede.
Let me give you a little travel update, John. Just
yes, we should mention that you're on the road.
Yes,
you got engaged for the 15th time, and you. By the way, you had a meeting at the millennial table about your engagement.
Yes,
and JC said, "I thought he already was engaged."
Yeah,
and Jay, the younger millennial, says, "Oh no, that was a promise.
Yes,
that's different."
Yes, that's correct. That was a commitment, not promise, but commitment.
Well, it's called promise nowadays.
Oh, okay. I'll take promise.
And I said, "What? When did they complicate these matters?"
It's all about pressure, man. So, yes, but it's not the 15th
so you're
time.
only in stage 2 then.
Listen, thank you very much for the newsletter in which you not only incorrectly named Tiffany Willow, but then also insinuated I'm wearing a bra. I mean, you really...
No, I thought it was Willow's.
It was. Tiffany was there too. You know, it's like siblings. We hang out at each other's anniversary
very
party.
Similar to each other. They do.
I thought it was very funny. Here's Willow with her son, Elon Musk. Yeah.
So Jay comes into the room. She's got the newsletter. She says, "Is Curry related to Elon Musk?"
That was pretty funny. But here's the irony of it all. So we traveled.
This is about the bra.
No, wait a second. So we traveled by train, and we get in, and we walk around. I got stuff to tell you about what we've seen, and then we're in bed, and it's like, geez, have you seen the draft newsletter? Have you heard from John? I said, no. It's like, so we're going on 1:30, 2 o'clock his time. I said, that's odd. And then, now it's midnight our time, so I'll email him. It's like, hey, you okay? Newsletter coming? The newsletter comes in about 10 minutes later, and it's like nothing but insulting. So,
What? Name one thing.
Insinuating I'm wearing a bra. Hey, this newsletter is comedy gold. You need to subscribe to it. Any No Agenda show notes page or noagendashow.com shows you how. So we left Lake Como. Was it Saturday? Was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. And we took the train to Luzerne, which is a very, very easy connection. Everything runs beautifully on time. That's what Mussolini took care of. But the first thing we noticed at Como, at the Como train station, is a lot of Asians with selfie sticks walking around. And I don't know if it's like a timing or vacation time, and I'm not sure where these people are from.
China, probably.
I think China, but there was a couple of people we looked like. Yeah, they looked like K-poppers, so they could have been South Korea. But I would say, in general, I thought most of them were from China. And they're all over Luzerne. And also at the train station, as people were arriving, a lot of kind of middle-aged guys, I'd say like my age, paunchy, but all decked out in bike racing outfits. And they're just everywhere. It's almost like the douchebag Silicon Valley guys, who take their bikes on the jet or send them ahead. And then I think they're training in the Italian mountains. And none of them really look the part. They got the paunch.
Well, except for the outfits.
Yeah, the outfits and their legs are shaved, but otherwise, dude, you have no business.
Go to the guy, say, hey, is that Velo Sport? Is they paying for you? They're giving you money to wear their colors?
You almost want to ask, like, wow, you're sponsored? Please give me a break. Yeah,
they
very
sponsor
strange.
Anybody, don't they, that guy?
These days, anybody. Oh, also, I wanted to mention, holy smokes, the difference in prices between Italy, where we were, of course, is, there's many regions in Italy, but we weren't that far away in Lake Como. And here in Luzerne, it's triple the price of everything. It's mind-boggling. How do these people afford this? It's really insanely expensive. Luckily, we're only here for a couple of days. Now, on the train, something very interesting happened. The Swiss border guard came through the train just as we're going from, Lugano, crossing the border. And these guys come through, and actually they were kind of, they seemed kind of friendly. Of course, we have the obvious white privilege, I guess. So, just looking at them, okay, they drop by, just friendly nod. You see them going in between the cars and just knocking, but then forcefully opening the bathrooms. And I guess they're looking for, well, I know what they're looking for now because they got off at the first stop in Switzerland. And we're sitting there right next to, at the train station, they have a smoking booth. So it's kind of like a glass cage. And there's 3 guys in there. Black guys, very dark black, important for the story in this context. Kind of in this, like Gucci type gold glittery outfit stuff with iPhones. Kind of the stuff that I suspected would be in their suitcase that they're going to sell wherever they're going to wind up. And these guys, we see them. They go up to them and they ask them a question, and whatever the answer was, it was not satisfactory. The guy's fumbling with his iPhone. this border guard grabs his phone, pulls it, and the guy's head snaps down because it had his earphones plugged in. He grabs the other guy's phones, and immediately you see these guys are in trouble. There's no passports they can produce, and they got nailed. And these guys were not messing around. And they were straight to search and their baggage and
the Swiss,
yeah. Because what's happening is you got all these migrants coming into Italy, and the Swiss do not want them in their country, and they mean business. I mean, Tina was
the
like
Swiss
shocked.
are very strict with their immigration.
Holy crap! Yeah, they were not messing around. So that was rather interesting to see.
Yeah, the Swiss was get through this whole thing without having any migrants at all.
I mean,
we don't talk about that, do we?
No, they also have no beggars, no homeless here.
We talk about Hungary. Hungary's bad guys. Doing
bad
the same
guys,
thing,
but the Swiss, they finance all the wars. No one's going to mess with the Swiss. Leave them alone. And we get here, and by coincidence, it's the Luzerne Festival, which means there's music everywhere and just a ton of classical cars. We're right kind of in the middle of downtown. Extremely nice, but very strange, Luzerne. If you want to go shopping or you want to get anything outside of dinner, watches, and chocolate, you have to go back to the train station. Underneath the Luzerne train station is a mall that is mind-boggling how big it is. And that's where everyone shops. It's where everyone does their, there's high-end clothing stores, of course, more jewelry stores, but that's where the big supermarket is. It's really bizarre. And for a guy with...
that keeps the rest of the town pristine.
It does. It keeps it... And we were there Saturday night because we wanted to get some groceries for this morning, and it was just insanely busy. 8 checkout lines, 40 people deep. Just wow.
At the mall?
The mall underneath the train station, a madhouse. And for a guy with hearing aids, it was really quite a sensory overload. Like, whoa, what's going on? Just a lot of noise. Let's see what else I have to mention in our travel. Oh, yeah. The minute we cross the border, I start getting spam in German. And it's really irking me. How do they do this? What are they attaching to me that they know how to start emailing me the minute I hit their country? How does that work? It's not
you, it's the phone. They're just doing it to everybody.
Well, we were not. No. It was not on my phone. We were on the Wi-Fi.
What do you mean it's not on your phone? It's coming through your earbuds? For your hearing aid?
What are you talking about? I'm connected through the dongle with my laptop. And then
about your computer.
Yes, my computer. And then I start getting spam in German on email at adam@curry.com. The minute it was Italian spam before that. I didn't even mention that part. And now I hit the border and boom, I start getting German spam. Is this
in your email?
In my email, yeah, in my email.
What's the prefix or the top level domain on your email?
Curry.com.
Is it not going through Google or anything?
No, curry.com.
It's right through you mean your own email server?
Yes, my own. Yeah, so somehow
I have no idea now that you say it that way, doesn't make any sense at all.
It must be somehow.
They got a chip in you, man.
It's the hearing aids. Back to the hearing aids. We know where he is.
Could be the hearing aids.
No, I think it's got
an IP address, don't they?
It's got to be cookies in my browser or something that gets snooped, and then they suck it off, and so to speak, and then they send it on.
Cookies in my browser.
It went fast, though. I mean,
tail on me. Cookie. What's the name of that song? People can do this one. Cookies in my browser. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So I was just amazed. I mean, that it happens. We've seen this a lot, but that it was right past the border. I'm just bloop, 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 bloop. I see the emails come in. It's like, wow, that's pretty sophisticated.
It's like there's a big giant room and there's a screen and there's a little white dot.
No, there's two.
And
one for each hearing aid.
Border. They say, okay, flip the switch, give it to them in German now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're following you.
Anyway, so we're in an Airbnb, even though I despise the company.
Why?
I haven't liked them for a while because they're also doing pricing based upon profile. So I have Tina now do all the ordering because then we
they
get
gyp you because
I've done it a lot or whatever. They just trying to get me to pay a higher price, and then she logs in, she uses her account, and she gets a lower price. So fine.
Well, that's outrageous.
It's the same as Uber. We've seen this happen. We know what's going on. But this particular Airbnb, I got to tell you, when people are doing straight up Airbnb and not, the so-called sharing of their home, there's always things wrong. There's just little things that if you lived here.
Yes, because it's usually not cared for properly.
Well, no, it's cared. No, it's meticulous. It's meticulously cared for. It's very clean. Everything is very nice.
There's always something. We had a place in London. The stove wasn't hooked to the wall, so when you touch something, the whole stove would fall over. I mean,
it's that kind of stuff. Like light bulbs are out because no one said it.
Right, the light bulbs are out in the kitchen, and the switch. None of the thing you put a new bulb in didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, then you don't know which switch to hit, and then it's all kinds of weird little things like that. And this place also has one toilet upstairs. It's kind of a loft half thing. One toilet, poop hole upstairs, the shower downstairs, and 6 beds. There's a bathroom with a bathtub and a bed in the same room. I got to take a picture of that. You won't believe it. That's not where we're sleeping. We're sleeping downstairs in the living. We're sleeping in the living room, which was not in the picture of the Airbnb. There was no picture of the bed in the living room. That's what we're sleeping on, which is in a direct diagonal view of the balcony doors, which have no shade, so the people across the way can just see you in your bed. There's a whole bunch of things wrong, and I think there should be rules about that. You should live in the place if you're part of the sharing economy.
Yeah, this whole sharing thing is nonsense. Bull crap.
Exactly. All right, so the only things that got left is total Asian invasion here, just everywhere. What is it in the culture of, I'll just say it, I think it's the Chinese, that they're so damn rude. They're just pushing up against you, don't give a crap about you in the way.
That's how you tell the difference between the Chinese and the Japanese.
Oh, Japanese are polite. I know the Japanese.
Big groups.
Yeah.
They're all like cuddled up together, and they got signs, and they got the sticks with a big yellow dot at the top, and they some
fuzzy ball
around so everyone can find her, and they all stick around together, and they're not rude.
No,
the Chinese are always rude. They're rude in China.
But why is that? What is that? What is this?
It doesn't bother me so much. I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'1".
Right, but does it bother them that are they rude to each other, or how does it work?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, it's just their culture. It's not rude. They're not being rude. Look, there's a line. There's a spot right in front of you.
They cut in line. Yeah, they cut in line.
Let me just cut right in front of you because you're not using that area.
Tina almost cut this Chinese lady with her spoon when the lady tried to cut in front of her at the ice cream parlor.
She did the right thing.
She said, "Hey!" She's got a plastic spoon. Yeah,
that's the way you do it.
It's just insane, though.
They back off.
Oh, they do back off, but I don't know how does that happen. And so they don't think that's rude. So cutting a line in China is just normal.
It is.
Okay.
Go to China.
Right.
Yeah, it's very normal.
Well, there's more reasons. I mean, so I don't care what Google does with their search engine, but the fact that you're supporting these rude bastards is a problem.
They're not rude by their definition of rude.
Hey, when I go to a country, I try to be into the culture. I'm not trying to be an a-hole American.
It's rude that they're not adopting local customs. I agree with that.
Yes.
But hey, with the diversity thing going on, local customs don't mean anything anymore. Get over it.
Yeah. I'm going to go to China and just be a dick.
You fit right in.
Anyway, selfie sticks galore. They didn't get the memo. This is an old fad. And what are okay, so then it's right by the lake, there's swans, and the swans are very beautiful, and they've gotten this whole trick. I know swans. I've had swans around me.
They're terrible animals.
They're terrible animals, and they're scam artists. So they do their beautiful wings up, like, oh, feed me. And everywhere there's signs in every language, including Chinese. Don't feed the swans. Of course, the Chinese are on the other side of the gate. They're feeding the swans and taking selfies with the swans. And they're standing in swan poop. The swans poop like massive, massive poop. It kind of ruins everything.
The side of the gate.
Damn Chinese. Yeah. Hey, good news though.
I think they've lucky. The only people that are happy about the Chinese tourists are the Germans. Because the Germans are always seen as the most rude, horrible travelers and tourists.
That's good, Hans. Look at the chink. He is ruder than us. I will say, though, that now I'm a little older and I'm in my 50s. All of my Dutch, French, German, it's kind of melded together, and I'm very capable of functioning without even thinking about it. I see the words, I can read the sentences, I can understand what people are saying, I can make myself understood. It's very interesting that I really don't have to think about it. And I thought,
well, that's a good thing for you.
It is a good thing.
Doesn't help me any.
And for the Swiss, thank goodness, they have Lime electric scooters. Woohoo! The plague is here.
I'm stunned. They're in Switzerland?
Yep.
This really is. I'm taken aback.
It's kind of interesting.
It doesn't seem like it's within their ability to want something like that or allow it.
Well, as you know, it has nothing to do with wanting it. It has to do with these people just drop the stuff in. You know that.
Yeah, but the Swiss usually crack down on that sort of thing. They're very
well. They still may. Hey, do you know Damien Germanier, or is it Germanier? Yes, the chef.
No.
Oh. Well, there's like big signs everywhere that he's at the.
He's a big shot
at the big hotel, and looking. And he's got tattoos, and he looks really chefy. It's like guest chef Damien Germanier. You don't know him. If you don't know him, then.
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean he's not famous, but he's not one of the guys I know. I was just reading about another shamed chef recently. And I guess in New York, I can't remember his name already, but he was all tatted up and was apparently a.
You sure it's not this? You sure it's not this guy?
Might be the guy with another name.
Might be this guy. Yeah.
But he was rousted from his whole operation after. Just being a horribly rude, sexist pig.
Oh, nice.
And he was done. Some of these guys are weird, these chefs.
So I'm happy on one hand, and I'm a little disappointed on the other that, now everyone is catching on to the fake storm news. And now people are doing their own funny videos on YouTube. It's kind of our bit.
Yeah, it's ruined our bit.
It's our bit. We've been doing that bit for a long time, and I don't feel like doing it anymore because people doing the video version of it is honestly better than our audio version. There's pretty funny stuff out there.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. Although sometimes you just can't get away from the funny bits. This is I think this is CNN.
Emmer, you're in the middle of all of it there. How are things changing there?
Yeah, Sandra, I ran into my second civilian here. This is Amber. Your last name
Griffor.
is Griffor, and this is who down here?
This is Arlo.
Okay, all right. Now, you live in Wilmington.
We do.
What are you doing out here on the boardwalk?
Walking the dog.
Yeah.
They got to go potty too, right?
Yeah. Damn. What are you doing here? It's supposed to be dangerous. Fox News has some of the best millennials reporting. This is fantastic.
For the viewers, in terms of people that have stayed, roughly 70, according to officials, what I was told just about 2 hours ago, about 75% of the population within this entire region has evacuated. That still means 15% are still here waiting to ride it out.
I mean, you can't write this stuff. It's like, where do they come up with these reporters? Woo! But the storm was such a dud that even Al Gore couldn't use it to talk about climate change. So he went back to the good old standard of Hurricane Maria. Although, wait, wasn't that Trump's fault? I don't understand.
Some people evidently.
What?
It's all Trump's fault. He did these hurricanes.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on a second. Let me start that over again.
Some people evidently can still deny the reality. It's a little bit harder to deny the 3,000 deaths in Puerto Rico from Hurricane Maria last year. Come on! How far down that rabbit hole are people going to follow? This is utter insanity. We have to wake up. We are alive in this moment. We are awake. We have to take action.
Okay, jeez.
I did want to say something about this death toll because I looked into this and it's not being explained properly. And here's a report, actually, because of course the whole idea was Hurricane Maria would be so devastating. It would all be Trump's fault, and he screwed it up twice in a row, even after he knew he could do a great job. And then the hurricane kind of turned into a lot of water. And of course, people are always dying. One guy electrocuted himself hooking up extension cords in the rain. Someone has a heart attack. Of course, there was a tree that fell. I mean, things do happen, but people die every single day for a number of reasons. So they really, really tried to do something with this. But now there's this death toll. And I looked into this when it first came up, and I can't remember what happened, but it got shoved out of the news and it's back in.
Tonight, President Trump is falsely blaming Democrats for inflating the death toll from last year's Hurricane Maria to make him look as bad as possible. Tweeting today, 3,000 people did not die in the two hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. A long time later, they started to report really large numbers, like 3,000. Earlier this week, claiming
Puerto Rico was an incredible unsung success.
Direct deaths from Maria, like drowning and injury, were estimated at 64. But an independent study by George Washington University, commissioned by the Puerto Rican government, estimated nearly 3,000 people died in the aftermath of the storm due to a lack of resources.
We are giving strong evidence that should not generate political controversy.
In a statement tonight, the White House said President Trump was responding to the liberal media. Mr. Trump, who faced criticism for his initial handling of the crisis, under mounting scrutiny.
I have no reason to dispute these numbers. I was in Puerto Rico after the hurricane. It was devastating.
And Republican Representative Ileana Ross-Lehtinen said only a warped mind would turn this statistic into fake news. The president has turned to conspiracy theories in the past, from falsely claiming former President Obama wasn't born in the U.S. to suggesting Ted Cruz's father might be linked to the JFK assassination.
No, that was actually the National Enquirer, but okay.
Now, a new cloud of controversy. In its statement tonight, the White House also insisted every death from Hurricane Maria is a horror.
So I did look into this. I think we might have discussed it when this first came up. The 64 number is what I found interesting. Where does that come from? So this independent study that was done, the way they came up with their numbers...
and by the way, let's make sure to re-mention this on behest of the government looking for more money.
Oh, totally. In that same period, the year before the hurricane, there were 64 people less that had died as in the same period when they were asking these independent questions. So people die all the time. And lots of people die in poor countries. And why it's poor and where there's problems, that's a whole different conversation. Because, yes, they are a U.S. protectorate. But that difference was 64, which is why I said, well, 64 people died. But this independent study, they went around to all these homes and said, hey, did someone die? Yeah, someone died. From the hurricane? Yeah. That was the study. Whereas... if those 3,000 people hadn't, if there was no hurricane, apparently 3,000 people wouldn't have died. That would have been an astronomical amount of people to have not died, according to the number of people that die in that period every year in Puerto Rico. That's how they come up with the 64. And no one is going back and saying, hey, look at the numbers. Look at the year before. Look at 5 years before. You'll see the number of people who die in those 5 months. But now it's all, of course, Trump's fault. But that's where the 64 comes from, and that's where the discrepancy is.
Well, that's pretty simple. They should be able to just expose that.
Oh, please. Please.
So I got some storm clips. I do have, I have one. This was the one I was watching. It's CBS, I believe. I'm watching this thing being played out, and I saw the way they talked about the storm in, it was going to be a 4, and it was going to be a 5, and it was going to then it was a 2, and then
it's tropical storm.
It became a tropical storm, which again isn't this the same thing that happened in Houston?
Well, yeah, in Houston, but this is the problem, and I think there's a lot of water, there's a lot of damage, but it's not quite.
What happens is instead of being like a storm just goes and blows everything down and gets out of there, it sits and dumps crap loads of water.
A lot of water. It's a bad situation.
Which is as damaging as the storm, but it's not quite as spectacular to film.
Exactly.
But a couple of things I first of all, before playing the deep.
Deep what?
Deep stuff. Hold on a second. I'm just looking for the clip. This is the jamming two. Tell me, listen to this carefully. Jamming two storm stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so another couple of feet.
Another foot would have been on top of her.
The strongest storm on the planet this year.
That's all I got. Is that your clip?
Yeah. The reason is because I'm trying to dissecting how they were doing this. They played all the stuff about the storm in North Carolina, and that was the end of their coverage. And they cut right to the storm, the real storm in the Philippines.
Oh yeah. That's all over the news.
That
here
one
too.
that's got 200-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
it's not a slouch of a storm, but they can't blame that on Trump.
Whoa, no, because Duterte hates him. No, Duterte hates him, so it's not working out. Yeah, okay.
But the way they did this, it made it sound like
Let me hear it again.
Just about an hour's worth of storm coverage, and play that clip again, and here's how they come out of it.
Yeah,
so another couple of feet.
Another foot would have been on top of her.
The strongest storm on the planet this year.
Huh.
So they come out of one storm story, and if you're just casually listening, because this is what happened to me, because I'm listening to all these clips.
Yeah, you thought it was
I'm thinking,
Florence.
And they said the strongest storm. Wow, I didn't know it was the strongest storm this year so far. And then I had to listen longer, and I realized, you're talking about another storm altogether. They just jammed two stories together.
Oh, bastards.
Well, here's what the actual big storm downplayed. Did play actual big storm.
Oh, hold on. Actual big storm?
The strongest storm on the planet this year, Typhoon Mangkhut, lashed at the Philippines, with torrential rain and fierce winds gusting to 200 miles per hour.
This is nature, something you cannot go against.
Along roads strewn with trees and debris, we drove north with workers clearing downed power lines and felt the punch of Mangkhut's wind.
Bam!
With more than 5 million people living in its path, thousands were evacuated from their homes to disaster centers. The typhoon's rain band, nearly 550 miles wide. This fisherman nearly drowned trying to save his boat. This storm is different than others, he tells us. I thought I was going to die. For hours, Mangkhut wreaked havoc on crops here, set off landslides and swelled rivers before churning out to sea.
I'm very surprised. If they could only find one slight Trump angle, it would be perfect.
Well, that you can already tell they're giving up, because this is a low-key report.
Yeah, there's no one.
This is a major, massive killer storm.
Yeah.
It's heading right into Hong Kong, which has got to be a laugh riot to be there during this. And they're just playing well, and a couple people got knocked over, and there's a flood.
Yeah, fishermen.
And there was they're just down compared to what they're playing our local one, which is, oh my God, all hell's breaking loose.
See, I don't understand. They should have said, thanks to Trump pulling out of the Paris Accord, this is our future. Look at these dead people.
Well, that's what they would do. I didn't get the Democracy Now! Clip, but I'm sure that's the way they handle it. Now, I want to just tell people there's a blog, a weather blog called the Cliff Mass Weather and Climate Blog. Mm-hmm. And this guy is in Washington State, and it's CLIFF MASS. And you should just subscribe to his blog. He is a real climatologist, and he knows all this stuff deep. Mm. And he's not an anti-climate guy, but he gets accused of being. It's like you're a Trump apologist. It's the Trump apologist syndrome.
Of course.
And he went through all the documentation because of all these assertions, because he finds somebody to say something about the weather, he checks it out. All these assertions that we're getting more storms and they're worse and all the rest of it. He's gone through the documentation in his most recent post. It's bullcrap. We're having less and less major storms.
No, that's not good.
No, so nobody wants to talk about it. In fact, I got this clip from a guy in Australia, Professor Ian Plimmer. This is a climate change always changes clip, which is funny.
Karen Phillips wants to change climate, then read history. Go back a little bit, read history. It's been validated by the geology. It's been validated by so many proxies. And what we see is climate always changes. I'm not a climate denier. It's the people who want to have global warming deny that climate changes. They deny what we have known for thousands of years. Climate always changes.
Don't you
So
dare.
they're the deniers.
Yes, denying climate change.
Anyway, denying climate change deniers.
Sorry.
Okay.
Misfire.
Well, I got my Stormwatch clip, the summary from CBS.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glor in Wilmington, North Carolina, and this is a special edition of the CBS Evening News. The rain will barely let up here on this coast for another 24 hours. The preliminary rainfall totals from Florence are staggering. The National Weather Service says more than 30 inches of rain was measured in Swansboro, North Carolina. That shatters the state's tropical system rainfall record of more than 24 inches set during Hurricane Floyd in 1999. Officials warn some rivers are approaching historic flood levels, and the worst of it may still be to come. The death toll from Florence climbed today to at least 12. Some have been killed by fallen trees. Others have died on flooded roads. Nearly 1 million homes and businesses in the Carolinas have lost power. Today, the mayor of Wilmington told us it could take weeks to restore all electricity to this city. President Trump and Vice President Pence receive updates on the storm at the White House today. The president plans to travel here sometime soon. We have a team of correspondents covering this disaster.
What a waste of resources.
And I killed it there because they went from one team member to another, each of them interviewing some hick.
Yeah.
Well, this is the worst I've ever seen it. I've been here for 40 years, and it's never been this bad. Something's wrong here. One, it's all man on the street stuff. It was really miserable.
I must say, I of course, I don't have any television over here. I haven't watched any except for a little bit of strange German TV last night. But I saw the Weather Channel. They've got some pretty cool virtual set 3D graphics where the host is standing there, and then it's like she's standing in the middle of somewhere in North Carolina, and then she shows the water level, coming up, and it comes up around her in a virtual. Like, you have to see it. It's in the show notes. They got some cool tech to do this. Again, a waste of resources, but still. They got
that's entertaining. It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Of course it's entertainment.
Yeah.
A lot of people I saw tweeting about John Kerry on Bill Maher last night, which I watched the interview, and stupid blockhead. It just wasn't interesting at all. In fact,
he's a boring guy. He's always been boring. That's why he lost the election.
Yeah, and he was making jokes, and Bill Maher was a little annoyed by it because, he does the jokes. But then I noticed that Steve Ballmer was on the show. So I figured I'd just shuttle forward.
This. Now I got to go back and watch it.
Well, I have a couple clips for you. Steve has found philanthropy and the LA Clippers, of course. And he has this outfit called USA Facts.
Fact check false.
And so he just gives you the facts, the government numbers, the facts. Very interesting. And I'm not quite sure what Bill Maher or his producers expected, but it didn't quite turn out the way I think he expected. Have a listen.
Well, I started about 4 years ago. My wife said I'd retired. She said it's time to get involved philanthropically.
Hey, wait, stop.
And,
Stop. Back it up. I think you got the wrong clip. That's Chris Farley in an old Saturday Night Live bit, isn't it?
Interestingly enough, I didn't clip it. Bill Maher actually said, "Did Chris Farley die and move into your body?" Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of crappy stuff that was said here. We'll continue.
We're focused.
And for those who don't know, Ballmer used to be the CEO of Microsoft, and he was, he's a kind of interesting guy. Developers!
On kids and kids in need. I said, all we need to do is pay our taxes. Let's be good taxpayers. Government takes care of that. And she said, dude, come on. We can do better than that.
Right.
But it got me to say, I wonder really where the tax dollars come from and where they go.
It's so amazing.
Just the facts.
Right. People will scroll through 100 Yelp reviews to find a taco stand. But they have no idea where their tax dollars go. And you did a deep dive Like a businessman, because you were the head of Microsoft. You're a businessman.
I said I at least ought to read stuff that's as good as you can read about any public
to find
company.
out where the money's going, what it's doing, what the outcome is. And give us some examples like healthcare.
Take healthcare. Since 1980, healthcare per person, inflation adjusted, is up 225%. 225%. Okay? Let's take a look. People like to talk about life expectancy. I'm not a life expectancy guy. That's forecast and futures. I just look at the average age at which people die. That seems to be about actuals, not forecast.
Steve, you're never going to die. I have a feeling that nothing can kill this right over here. This is.
But in the last 20 years, average age at which people die has gone from 72.3 years to 72.9 years.
Wow.
That's it.
Right.
For all the money we're just hemorrhaging into healthcare, you'd think we'd be buying people extra life. But obesity's up, a lot of these other factors. So are we spending our healthcare dollars well?
Oh, Rutrow. That isn't exactly what Bill Maher wanted to hear with all this healthcare spending that we're talking about, or that he's talking about. Let's try another topic.
We'll take government numbers. We'll show you what they are. I mean, you can take a look at the border thing. Border agents are up.
Right.
Apprehensions are down. Undocumented immigrant estimates are flat. Well, you have to decide how you think about it. We can't tell you.
Right.
We'll just give you the numbers.
Oh, damn. Wait a minute. So it actually works, enforcing the border? Let's try another topic.
So what about education? Are our children reading gooder?
Oh, okay, you got me there. Here, you can look at that number. Education spend per student has about doubled over again, inflation adjusted, over the last 30 years or so. About doubled. And yet still, only about a third of our kids, third grade level, can read at grade level, are proficient in third grade reading. A third of kids. And yet we have doubled spend.
See, I don't think Bill Maher realized he invited a Republican onto his show. Because Balmer keeps saying, oh, it's just the numbers. But what he's saying is pouring all this stupid money into all of these things the way you've been doing it doesn't work. Your system doesn't work. And then Bill Maher, who in the beginning of the interview sets it up by saying you're worth $47 billion, does this.
I just gave $1 million to the Democrats.
Gotcha.
For me, that's a lot of money. Because I think the most important thing to do in the world right now is get rid of Donald Trump, or at least check him.
Most important thing in the world.
It seems to me, because even though that's a lot of money, it won't change my life. I won't have to drive an Uber. I don't have expensive hobbies. I'm not one of those dumbass celebrities who has, fucking... Let's not go into it. But,
really?
But it seems like you could win this election by yourself and not feel it.
And me personally, I would think that's about the most unethical thing you could possibly do for yourself.
You don't think turning an election is an ethical thing to do when the person you're running against is Trump?
Do it, Steve! Come on,
then
Steve!
You get into the question of, how you think about things. No. For my morals, no. I'm not buying elections. I'm just not doing it.
Okay. I tried.
What is this all about? Take your billions of dollars, Steve, and buy the election away from Trump.
Well, we already know that didn't work when they tried to buy the election away from Trump with Hillary. She spent twice as much money. How much more? She's up to $1 billion. What more do you got to put $2 billion in to maybe beat him?
Well, if you'd like, I can lead us down the Hillary path, because
Here we go.
I got the full video of Hillary at Lesbians Who Tech. It was hard finding it, actually. And there were little snippets. I don't know if they wanted it out or something, or
they probably didn't want it out.
Yeah, it seems like if
it's hard to find, there's a reason.
Yeah, I agree. And there was actually a comic strip blogger who came through at the end. I really appreciate it, and he found the full length video. So I did pull a number of clips. I'm not going to play them all. I probably put more in the show notes than we're going to play. But and by the way, while I was looking for this video, you're looking for Hillary Clinton Lesbians Who Tech. And, of course, I've been using Bing, as we've been Bingers for a while now. And all of a sudden, Bing says, "Oh, you do have moderate safe search set to moderate. You click here to turn it off." I'm like, I got to find this video. Let me tell you, if you turn off safe search on Bing on lesbians who tech, somehow it thinks you're looking for lesbians who teach, and it's a very different search experience. And Bing has a very expansive, non-safe search results. It's just a tip if you're interested. So we finally got the video.
You know what I mean.
And I don't have the name of the woman who interviewed her on stage, but there was a lot of reference to Kara Swisher's interview, which you'll hear. And it was just so much love in the room for Hillary. And there were even some crowd shots where you could see people not clapping but snapping their fingers, which, as we know, is a complete Austin thing these days as well. So here she is. We're going to bring her up on stage and have a chat with her.
Did you know you were a lesbian icon? I mean, it's basically like RBG, you, and I just want to say you're more to us than just the pantsuits. Well, I am thrilled to hear that.
Instead of just saying, I'm bisexual, which is pretty well known, no.
I mean, and I don't want to give short shrift to the pantsuits. Well, because, I rarely do this, but I have to.
Oh, and we're like, she's going to say it.
Tell you, if you don't know already, that I am on People Magazine's best dressed list this year. Yes.
I guess you can only be on the best dressed list if you're a lesbian icon. I'm not quite sure how it works.
Now, granted,
that was a subject changed of note.
You think? But it was also a setup with the whole, a lot of people don't know this, but I dress in pantsuits. Like, what is this? Anyway.
It's in the 70-plus category, but now,
Whatever. So, of course, she's not there just to talk about herself. Oh, wait a minute, she is. The paperback version of her book is coming out.
I told her, some of you might remember that she interviewed me 2 years ago, the spring of 2017, and it was a great interview. It was tough, as she always is, but during it, I said things like, the Russians were more involved and all of that, and people were like, oh, she's lost it.
Yes.
Crazy. So my paperback comes out Tuesday with, some more information and an afterword.
Oh, an afterword.
So my goal...
Is that typical for a paperback to have an afterword?
It's not unknown.
Is to do everything I personally can do and to inspire you to do to elect Democrats, and then to make sure it's not stolen and undermined, because we have a tremendous group of candidates, really terrific people. I've been doing fundraisers, especially for young women running for Congress, but it won't matter if we don't vote. So when you ask me, there's only one thing on my bucket list right now. Do everything I can do to help us save our country.
Us. Woo! Save our country. John, save our country. Save our country.
Save it from what?
I don't know, from Trump. Just Republicans. Evil. Horrible people. And the Russians.
So we're 53 days away from the midterms. How do we make sure, A, do you think this is happening now? And B, how do we stop it from happening if it is in the future? Well, what we know is even the intelligence officials working in the Trump administration went to the White House briefing room about a month ago and said it is happening still. The Russians are now clearly in our electoral systems.
Fact check false.
Wait. They're clearly in our electoral systems, John. They're in the systems. There's Russians
on the paper ballot. They're
leaving.
In the ballot. The pieces of Russians are on the ballot.
What she's referring to is that there have been some intrusions into voter registration databases. I believe 2, which doesn't really mean. Well, yeah,
I think 2. I think
technically
2 is the
you're
accurate number.
in the election system, technically, but you're not really changing anything or doing anything. And that's pretty easily closed down, which I think it is. Oh, wait, maybe it's not.
We don't have a good strategy to combat them. In some states that are controlled by the other party, I think they believe that it's to their benefit. So they're
just so you know, every lesbian in tech Well, it's lesbians who do tech, actually. Every lesbian who does tech is a Democrat. You clearly heard that. There was no one who protested. What did?
It's like John Legend. Yeah. Anyone who's a creative person, a writer, artist, anything, a singer, they're all Democrats.
They're not going to really go into a deep investigation. The Democrats, actually it was bipartisan, an effort to try to do more to protect these upcoming elections, which was voted down. So every possible approach to try to protect us from whatever it is they're doing, and there are many different ideas about that, are being stymied. So the best way to deal with it is to just overwhelm with numbers so that they can't shave them on the margins. They can't suppress their way to a victory by preventing people, young people, minorities, older people from voting.
LGBT.
So I think that we've got to do everything we can, but we still don't know what exactly the Russians and their allies are planning this time.
Oh, they're planning, though. They're in the systems, they're planning, and they are going to strike, baby, I'm telling you. But here's the clip that I thought was most important. Now, remember, this is a tech conference, although if you look at all the tweets with their hashtag, LWDT, there's not a lot of stories about technology, a lot about LGBTQ and stuff like that, but not a lot about tech. But anyway, this is the tech community, and here I think is her real message.
Well, and I really want to do a big shout out to the tech community.
And she prefaces it by making sure you know she's talking to you, tech community.
Because a lot of people after the election in 2016 looked up and they said, we can do better. We can do better polling. We can do better, voter protection, campaign protection. So I've been working with and supporting some of those groups as well, because we were being, frankly, outwomaned on the other side, because they had a system that they...
That's a very interesting flub she makes there. As she says outmanned, realizes, oh my God, I'm in the midst of lesbians. This is not the thing I'm supposed to say. It's just we were outwoman.
That's exactly what went through her mind. She was quick-witted enough to catch it, and with the right beat. So it was very. The transition was good. It wasn't a choke. It was good. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, but what she then winds up saying is we were outwomaned by the other side. So wait a minute. Republicans are now women?
Protection, campaign protection. So I've been working with and supporting some of those groups as well, because we were being, frankly, outwomaned on the other side, because they had a system that they basically imposed. I'll give you one last thing, because I'm pretty,
all right, here it comes. Pay attention.
So Republican candidates are told to spend 40% of their advertising budget on digital.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Now, this is very important because we always talk about this on this show. The media is all in on the elections and on any election because it's their number one revenue moment in any cycle.
That's why there will never be any sort of reform.
No.
Because CBS, NBC, ABC in particular, and Fox to a lesser extent, all the local channels, they make all their money. Pretty much, it's almost like Christmas for them.
Now, what state does not get any money?
I don't know what state doesn't
California.
get any money. Oh, no, yes. California gets no money because it's a done deal. Everybody's going to vote Democrats.
But where?
So why bother advertising?
Exactly. However, what she just says is, and I don't know if this is true, that Republicans apparently have a mandate from the party that 40% of their advertising budget, which is the money, that's what it's all about. That's where Bill Maher's $1 million is going into advertising budgets, has to be spent on digital. Which, coincidentally, is California. I find that just very interesting as a little aside. Most of it's in California. So here is the message, and what is the model, the business model of Facebook and Twitter and Google is advertising. She is saying something very important here to this community.
Republican candidates are told to spend 40% of their advertising budget on digital. Makes sense, right? Democrats are not told that. So on average, Republicans are told to spend 40%. Democrats spend between 0 and 15%. Now, this is changing thanks to a lot of people like you who have been speaking out, working with campaigns. I am supporting Tech for Campaigns.
You know, that Tech for Campaigns, we played a clip from that. That's the here's how you don't get your email stolen. I always thought she was behind it, but now we know for sure.
Which is a really important piece of this.
Important stuff.
Because that's what they found, that, there just wasn't an understanding or a commitment to using digital. And so, we were behind, and we're playing catch up. But after the election, once, we catch our breath and we're so happy that we were successful, we've got to go to work on the next one. I mean, the other side never quits, and they have cadres of people who are focused on the next election, and we've got to do the same.
So there's your message, Silicon Valley. Hillary's going to help you get paid. Work with me. Work with Hillary.
Huh.
Then
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was very clear messaging.
I mean, from that perspective, the whole thing was boring.
It's incredibly boring. Well, so I have, I was only going to play one more clip. It's a little long. It's about Serena Williams. It was just so lame that I feel we have to listen to it. And I do want to say that Serena Williams, in short, got docked a point for something that John McEnroe got docked a point for too. It's not like it didn't happen to men before. Is there?
Yeah, well, she also got docked a game, which never really happened to
also,
McEnroe.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It was a game and a match point for McEnroe.
Okay.
But I will totally say tennis is probably a bunch of male douchebags. But you got to take things a little bit in context. And I think they really went off the rails with this analysis of the double standard in tech, which somehow comes to tennis, the double standard in tech when it comes to women.
I think one of the things that we have to fix is that there's clearly a double standard for women. The more powerful you are, the more you are disliked. We just saw that in the...
that doesn't happen to men at all. Ever.
No, people love
powerful men.
CEO.
Yeah, the douchebag fucks. Yeah, sure.
U.S. Open's finals. Sexism and racism there.
Oh, and racism. It wasn't just sexism. It's racism. I bet you didn't read that in the New York Times, did you, John? Racism. It was racism because she's black. That's why it happened.
And I just want to hear from you. Obviously, you've experienced this a lot, probably more than anyone in the world. How are we going to solve this double?
Oh, wait a minute. I got to think about this because this is a lesbian tech conference. What am I going to say?
Standard.
Part of the challenge is for women to support women who challenge the double standard. The double standard is alive and well.
It's alive and well.
And, oftentimes, in my experience, there are a couple of reasons why women are put down or judged unfairly and harshly. One is because they pose a threat. They pose a threat to the established order. They pose a threat inside a company or in politics or academia, wherever they might find themselves. And so the knee-jerk reaction is to put them down, and put them down personally, not necessarily professionally first.
Oh, okay. So you mean stuff like Orange Cheeto, and is that what you're talking about?
And so every woman has an interest in calling that out. If you're going to object to somebody's work, then be specific. But don't go into this like, she's just not likable. Well,
she's talking about herself, which is kind of creepy.
I have a list of about 10 million men who are not particularly likable.
Oh, yes. There we go. We hate men. What is this? I find it embarrassing for the lesbian community that this is happening. So now that we're all cheering for
lame. It's pretty bad.
10 million men who we hate.
But the knee jerk plays into all of these cultural stereotypes, and so people say, "Oh, I don't know if I want to speak out because she can be kind of angry, or she can be kind of pushy, or whatever she might be." But we've got to get over that. We've got to support each other, and we've got to speak out for each other. And then the second thing I would say is this whole question about women standing up for ourselves. And you mentioned the U.S. Open. I've watched tennis for decades, and I've seen a lot of men throw their rackets. I've seen them scream at the referees. I've seen them, engage in all kinds of, angry, hurt, disappointing behavior. But everybody understood it was because they were such great competitors. They were in the moment. They couldn't help it. Well, and along comes Serena, who is standing up for herself and speaking out and being basically put down and penalized. And I think that it doesn't matter if you're out there by yourself and you're trying to do it. You know you're taking risks, and yet the only way we're going to expose the double standard and hopefully eventually see it end is if we're willing to do that, and if we hope and count on other women standing behind us. So I'm going to keep doing what I can, but I hope everybody does the same.
Fail. So I just thought, I was like, geez, you go and alienate some more people, men.
Yeah, you wonder why she can't win.
I think it's a lost opportunity. If she had said right at the beginning of that interview, well, I have something to say, and she had come out, she could have run again.
That'd have been something.
She could have run. She could have run. She could have run.
They were holding their hands together and looking up with awe.
She could have run easily.
But no, now she just pisses off 10 million random men.
Men. Men. Damn men. Not denying that it's there, but come on, this is not how you solve it. You're just creating more division by literally saying, there's 10 million men I don't like.
Yeah, the yellow Cheeto.
This is not
green.
This is not
orange.
This is not kumbaya. Right. This is not nice. Then with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C. The C stands for kumbaya in some spelling, Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, in the morning to our troll room at noagendastream.com. Good to have you here, as per usual, especially my personal troll, Nick the Rat. More about him later on. And also, that's noagendastream.com, where we're live on Thursdays and Thursdays at just before the Zephyr on Thursdays and Thursdays. Also, a big in the morning to Darren O'Neill. He brought us the artwork for episode 1068, and this was the fine toilet wine that the keeper, the Curry and the keeper, had during our engagement dinner. It was a nice piece. We like that a lot, and I want to thank him for that. That is noagendaartgenerator.com. Where all of our artists upload their art, usually before we're even done.
Yes. All right. Well, we do have a few people to thank, including 2 Instanites.
Whoa.
Our executive producers are both Instanites, and we have 1 associate executive producer. It's a short list, but it's pretty spectacular.
Wow.
Yeah. Instanite number 1 is Sir Julian. He's not an instant. He's already a knight, so that was a mistake. He's in Morgan Hill. He gave us some money the other day. Sir Julian, again, my better 3/4 reminded me that I was indebted to John C. Dvorak for the ant-burning tip. In the last few years, this has saved us from frustration, unnecessarily chemical treatments, and pest control bills. Value for value.
Now, do you want to remind us of the...
We'll do the ant-burning trick. I'll tell it again. We tell it every couple of years. People don't seem to remember. So... I came up with this theory that there's a variety of ants that come when you're in the West Coast. There's these things called Argentinian ants. They all came up from Argentina. They've taken over the place. All the other native ants have been wiped out by these guys. And the thing that makes them interesting is that they are not hive specific. So you can wipe out an Argentinian ant colony, and a few stragglers will be out there, and they go into some other colony, and they don't get killed like the other ants would do to their peers. You're not from us, from our colony, and they kill them. No, not with these guys. So essentially, California in particular is one giant anthill.
Yes, those aren't earthquakes you're hearing or feeling. It's just the ants.
Ants that are doing the damage.
Yeah.
So I find they're a very social animal, and they have all these different ways of doing things. And once in a while, you start to see these out of the blue. There'll be a few ants roaming around. These are the scouts. You see these scout ants, and you see one of them, and you see another one. Maybe you see 5. You don't see a lot of ants, but you see a few of these ants nosing around, looking for some opportunity. You take a little one of those little lighters, Scripto lighters, and you scorch them dead, kill them with the flame. You burn them, and you burn everyone that you can find, and you leave them there. Other scout ants will show up, maybe, and if you see them and they're not carrying another ant out, because usually what they do is they grab, oh my God, one of our buddies is dead. They grab him and take him back to the nest.
Do they eat him?
No, they use them for building material.
Build a wall.
The Europeans used to do the same thing with human skulls, but that's another story.
Okay.
Anyway, so if enough of these dead ants go back, they say, we got to stay. There's like a big fire or something going on there. These guys are all and they don't come back, and they never show up.
And that's how you get rid of ants.
And you keep killing these little guys if you see them as scouts. Now, if you see one carrying a dead ant, that means he's taking them back to the hive.
You don't kill him, right? You
don't kill him because he's the one taking the message back.
He's got the message, right? And this is
now, if you miss the timing on this, you still can get in trouble. But most of the time, it works.
The more you know in the morning.
Just a bit. I can't help it. I got ants.
I got ants.
I got ants. All right, I'll have to play that end of show. Thank you.
All
That's
right,
great.
Here we go.
The more you know.
Thank you, Sir Julian.
Yes,
he doesn't seem to want to upgrade or anything, but okay. He probably will when he gets the Baron.
Yes.
If he's not already. Scott Levenberg in St. Paul, Minnesota, 1,000. Now, this is a genuine Instanite, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I once emailed you a while back in my hometown in Pennsylvania a couple years ago. You mentioned it during the show. I'm sure that you've forgotten it with the volume of mail. Because blah, blah, blah. I'd like to say, I want to say I want to be knight. I want to be a knight. I know John and people say that, but they never do. Okay, I'm trying to get to the point he's trying to make. I fell overboard a couple of years it went by, and I made my way back and never forgot the promise I made to give you value for value. Yes, I said, yeah, people promise and they never deliver. And he's making the point that some people do. As I think about value, I like to provide younger listeners or just listeners lost on their path through life with my cliched advice in the hopes that it reaches and resonates with someone. I'd really also appreciate if both of you would, after the donation segment, impart some of the wisdom you have for younger listeners making their way as you both had an incredible journey to where you are now, podcasting.
Please reevaluate your statement. We have such an incredible journey to podcasters.
I'm sure we would all be better off for hearing your sincere thoughts on how to navigate the world. Okay, we'll give some advice sometime when we feel like it. Please do editorialize on this message and my message below as you see fit. Finally, please call me Sir Software Dev, a.k.a. Sir Code Monkey of the Twin Cities, and do look up. Look me up if you're either in the Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul metro area or waiting for a layover at MSP. You'll come by.
All right.
I appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you.
Where's the device?
What device?
Well, that editorialized this message. That was the message?
Well, you editorialized the whole message. You cut out the whole first part.
Well, what was the part that was good? Oh, okay. Well, let's read the beginning then.
No, it was just nice.
It was a nice message, but what was the advice to the kids?
He wants us to what? His advice to the kids?
Oh, he wants. I'm sorry.
His advice.
I'm sorry, Sir Code Monkey.
You butchered it. The whole thing.
I butchered it.
Horrible. I want to thank Sir Software Dev, which is not his name yet, but Scott will receive that title during the official knighting ceremony later on this program. Thank you very much for your courage. It is highly appreciated.
And he will buy us a beer.
Yes.
Actually, you know, at the Minneapolis St. Paul airport, they have one of the best brat shops.
Oh, is that so?
In any airport I've ever been to.
Hmm.
It's from one of their sausage makers in the area, and they have a brat shop. They make a very killer brat.
I'm gonna give them some karma.
You've got karma.
I guess that didn't make up for my watch. Oh well. Well, he'll be back. Anyway, Sir Richard in Alberg, Vermont's our associate executive producer, $222. You need some house selling karma, no jingles.
You've got karma.
He's got the new little monikers, NJJK.
No jingles, just karma.
No jingles, just karma.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, what?
That's it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, thank you very much to our two executive producers and our lone associate executive producer. It is highly appreciated as we're out on the road for you and continue to bring you our program. It's really your program, the best podcast in the universe, and we'll be thanking more people in our second segment, $50 and above. Looking forward to that as well. We got lots of stuff to talk about. And remember us for our next show on Thursday? Dvorak.org/NA. I think we're no longer twice a week. We're just on Thursdays. Pass it on.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
So I think we should take Scott's advice and give a little bit of advice right now to the youngsters out there who are trying to make their way to podcasting.
Well, it's not just podcasting.
Through a long route.
That's not what he said. He said give them some advice for their path in the future.
Don't get killed or end up in dimension A or B. The B.
Or too far in any dimension for that matter.
Well, I got my piece of advice.
All right.
I've given this advice before. I'm going to give it again. Most people that will supervise you throughout your careers are full of crap.
And that's the advice. The more you know.
And they tend to they can be played, and I don't like to say that you want to play people, but they can be played by just going along with whatever they have to say. Do not be argumentative. And I'll give two examples. I'll give one example, a good one. Well, actually, I'll give a number. I'll generalize. Somebody will say, hey, I don't like the way you're doing this. And you're doing it whatever way you're doing it. And you, instead of saying, well, I'm doing it for this reason or that reason or whatever, you say, oh, okay, what do you want me to do? What do you think I should do better? I'm all ears. Be very attentive. And then they'll tell you the way they want you to do something. And then just keep doing it the way you were doing it because it's the way you do things. Don't pay any attention to their advice. And within, I don't know, a few months, they come back to you and say, well, so how's that new way of doing things? And you say, it's great. You were right. And the guy will say, yep, I've noticed it. You've changed. You're much better than you were. And that happens all the time because everybody thinks they're so important.
Interesting. That's not the kind of advice I give. I give different advice because I give the same advice. I give the same. Is that the same advice you hand out to young people all the time?
No, I have a lot of different advices.
Oh.
But that one particular piece of advice, which is these supervisors are full of crap, and just to go along with the program, don't argue. That's my advice.
Stay in line.
But keep doing things the way you're doing them. It's not going to. They're not going to notice one. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I guess my advice is kind of dovetails into that, where my advice is always the same. Find out what you really like doing. Just there's something you like doing. You could be skateboarding for all I care. Find something you really, not like, what you really love doing. And then find someone to pay you to do it. That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's the secret to life.
That's the ideal advice for everybody. But many times
bullcrap. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do that.
You have a place in life.
If you need a job tomorrow and you have to go work at Taco Bell, what are you going to do? Screw you, Taco Bell?
Well, that's part of the finding someone to pay you to do it part.
Yeah, well, maybe you can do that from the taco back in the. You try to get in the front counter.
It's taken me 54 years to finally be able to podcast. Don't knock it.
I've been my whole life before podcasting was invented. I've been wanting to podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but it's just in the back of my head. It's just the word podcasting. Well, I'll drop it like a bomb when it happens. And you invented the word podcasting.
No, I did not. I did not invent the word podcasting.
Who did?
Danny Gregoire is the one who I credit it to. He is the one who I first heard it from, but then there's that Guardian journalist who did use the term podcast, not podcasting, but podcast several years, no, maybe a year earlier when the iPod came out. But that was before there was any podcasting.
So he precognated.
Yes. He had it before it existed, and therefore he claims he coined the term, which I guess he did technically. Ben Garsley, what's his name? Ben.
Well, yeah, I would say he's coining the term.
What's the guy's name again? Ben.
Forgotten the history. Apparently, he should have become a podcaster.
Right. All right.
Well, then I'll give another piece of advice.
Oh, gee.
So, yeah, tail finning into your advice.
Okay. Ooh.
I don't know what tail finning
I like
means.
that. Tail finning is not necessarily good, but okay.
Tail finning. Do a lot of different things until you find something you like. And if you like a lot of things, do them all.
Yeah. I agree with that, too. And then ultimately do a podcast about your life, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, podcasting is the real
podcasting. That is
everyone's goal should be podcasting.
I have to say,
I'm noticing this.
No, there's an article that I put into the in the show notes. It's about Teague Hanley. Teague Hanley is someone sent me this. This is they market beauty products. I think a lot of them for men. And they claim to now spend 40% of their entire marketing budget on, quote, influencers who are on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
And I got to say that when we first started Pod Show, before it became Mevio, before it became dead, that was the idea. The idea was to have endorsements by the talent themselves, and that advertising would change the way people conveyed their message. And, and it failed quite spectacularly over a 10-year period. It really failed very well. So whereas, and I still believe you can't monetize the network, but what we're seeing here is the marketing money is going to move away from display, and if we're talking online display and clicks, etc. It's truly going to move towards this. And I can only say this because I'm from the future. Sometimes it takes me 20 years to get it right, but it is going to happen. And of course, what will happen to everybody, and we talked about this on just the last show, is YouTube and Instagram are all going to wake up and go, I don't think so.
Hey, we want our money.
You're taking our money. We want our money. And it's going to suck all over again. So build your own thing like we did. Build your own thing. Be smart about it. And even when you build your own thing, 99% of you will have nothing because it doesn't work without the exposure of the algos in Instagram and YouTube. It doesn't work. So make sure you're one of the 1%. But that's where it's going.
Yeah, I think Kanye West would be like a great spokesperson for the Republican Party.
Right now he's doing it for free.
Yeah, he should be getting paid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, that's. In fact, there was a number of the Scott Adams' girlfriend. I don't know how much money she makes, but she's on Instagram, and I don't remember her name, but she's on Instagram.
Christina, it's Christina. I know that.
Christina,
it's
Christina.
Yeah,
and she holds up a pair of shoes. She's very photogenic, so you want to look at pictures of her. And so she holds up a shoe, or she holds up, I don't know what she holds up, but she's got some sort of eye makeup or something, and she holds it up.
She's
and she
really okay. First of all, she does this in skimpy clothing, bikinis, underwear, which I don't know.
That's what I said. She's photogenic.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, got it. Sorry, I missed the code. Yeah. So what about her?
She makes money doing this, so it's just like that. So we know somebody within one degree of somebody who makes a lot of money doing this kind of crazy promotion. That there's ad agencies that hire people like her and others that have millions of followers on these different.
My own daughter makes money that way.
Yeah, your daughter, she does it too.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a message to you, Scott Adams. She doesn't need you for your money.
Scott Adams should be the guy doing this. He should go to an ad agency and start just casually.
Excuse me? That's all he does. What are you talking about?
Buy Toyota.
Oh, my God. John, that's all he does. Have you ever heard him promote his his app, When, What, Where, Hub Now.io?
Yeah, but that's not Toyota.
No, but that's his own thing.
Yeah, I know, but
he's
I
very
think
good.
Toyota. That's where the money is.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Well, I do. I think we should be promoting Toyota.
Yeah,
Toyota, where's our money?
Yeah, fine. No, never.
I don't want a piece of it.
I do not want a piece of it. I'm not interested.
So I went through all the trouble. I lost the clip of Jimmy Fallon and the Lodestar. And how they tried to,
what?
So I'm looking online to try to find it. I don't find it. I find a simultaneous, making it even look more like a hit job, of Jimmy Kimmel doing the same exact gag.
What?
Yeah. Here's Kimmel Lodestar. Here's
of course, there's a lot of speculation now about who wrote this, and this to me is the most interesting theory. Somebody online noticed an unusual word in the op-ed, and the word was lodestar. They wrote, "We may no longer have Senator McCain, but we will always have his example, a lodestar for restoring honor to public life," that's not a common word, lodestar. Not a lot of people use that word, but you know who does use that word? This guy.
It really was the lodestar. And that's going to continue to be a lodestar.
Jack's lodestar as our lodestar. You are a lodestar. Lodestar.
That's right. Vice President Michael Elizabeth Pence uses the word lodestar like it's actually. Wouldn't that be something if it was Mike Pence? Trump just announced that the Space Force's first mission is to locate and destroy the lodestar, whatever that may be.
Wow. So they didn't even. That's pretty brazen. It's almost exactly the same
clip package.
Yeah. Huh.
So somebody's out there, I'm thinking Lear, I don't know who it is, whoever's behind this phony memo is trying to set up Pence.
Hold on. Unless Fallon says something about Kimmel taking his bit, because, if that had happened to us, I would have said it.
Well, Fallon's bit was better. Fallon had other clips of other stuff that Pence said that matched the memo.
Oh, okay.
Kimmel focused on Lodestar only, which makes me think that it was a package that was given to these guys by some outside source.
Right.
And Fallon's people said, we like to use this, but we got to add our own thing.
Right.
So they added more to it.
They
That's
talk really
guess.
nasally, don't they, those people over at Fallon?
They do. Now, then to add a little, to kind of do some pile jumping, listen to Kimmel the next day.
Actually even bet on who wrote the op-ed. This is for real. The favorite is Mike Pence. This is not a joke. Then Betsy DeVos. You see Mike Pompeo goes down. Stephen Miller's all the way at 15-1, which is good for him.
He finds a betting line that's online, and the betting line shows that Pence is the favorite.
Okay. Do you have to pay the money when you make these bets? And how long do they get to sit on the money? Just forever?
I have no idea what the deal is. I don't know. I've never done that online gambling. It seems risky.
I don't know.
So it looks like Pence being set up.
Yeah.
I think it's probably, if you think about it, it's got to be
to make
strategy.
him a hero. To make him a hero.
No, you don't. No, you want to make him a goat within the administration, so it causes more disruptions and makes him take. Because he may never, he may really like you. Who knows what his attitude is toward Trump? He's not the kind of guy that seems like a creep that would go and write this crazy.
No, of course not. No.
For one thing, he's the vice president. What does he do?
Why would he even bother?
Yeah, so he wouldn't. But I think they're trying to create discord. It's really creepy what's going on. This is really creepy what these people are doing.
I'm not sure why, but it feels like this would fit into it. We got a note from an anonymous producer, and he says, I just hired someone who has worked and has lived in New York City for decades with a ton of celebrities. He's been around Trump and his people for years. We were chatting about the slur words today, and he unequivocally confirmed the original no agenda theory that Trump has dentures and that he is very sensitive about it. He pushes them up constantly, but occasionally they fall, and he does not take kindly to anyone mentioning it. So, I don't know. I mean, I have no way to check this.
I like that better because
I like it better, too.
Because it sounds like if you've known people with dentures, it sounds like somebody's dentures had just dropped.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he's got to use better glue.
But then somehow we had that as our original idea, and then it went to the Propecia.
You're the one that took it to Propecia.
That was another producer, so I still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on.
But no matter
I like
what,
the dentures thing because it sounds like clunk. All he needs is them to fall out.
But he still doesn't know how to pronounce anonymous. That part he can fix.
Maybe it causes a vacuum, sucks the dentures out.
Yeah. All right, what else you got going on?
Well, I do have I have this series of clips from the last show. This is a terrible story. Apparently, Brad Pitt, after the Hurricane Katrina hit the 9th Ward, he started a foundation that would help people rebuild. And so
didn't he have the formaldehyde houses?
No, his houses are mold.
No, is that what's going on with them?
The formaldehyde homes were done by, I think, FEMA.
That was
trailers.
FEMA. Right, FEMA.
Those are trailers. These are actually architected houses that are beautiful.
Very beautiful. Yes, I've seen them.
Except after about 5 years, the wood starts falling off. They're poorly made.
Oh,
and they're filled with mold, and people had to leave them after a year.
Oh.
And they were charging them money for it. This is a hair-raising story, and I think this is another example of some Hollywood guy getting in over his head. Play one.
This is it. Oh, look at this part. It's starting to come apart. That wasn't there when
I like the music.
When I was living in, and there's a lot more visible mold now, too. The siding is starting to crack here. You can actually see, look, this is supposed to be a 7-year-old home. Stop asking me, hey, what's going on with your Brad Pitt home? How do you like it? It must be so cool to live in a Brad Pitt home. And in my mind, I'm like, it's not. It's awful. I hate it. This has been years of ongoing lies and broken promises.
At first, I've followed a little bit of this story, although I certainly haven't tracked it for a couple of years. And I liked his whole idea. He has a house, or had a house there when he was still with Angelina. And he really wanted to do something. I thought he was doing something rather interesting. It's too bad that this apparently is not working out.
Yeah, I'd say not working out is the
understatement.
Mild way of
It's
putting
an understatement. Oh, okay.
Now, this was a special on NBC, which is NBC Universal. We're dealing with Hollywood.
Yeah,
and I don't know why the unwritten rule wasn't applied, and Brad Pitt was off limits, or if he didn't want to do a movie. I don't know. But I get the sense that this is a bad situation, but it would normally have not have been played up by the 3 major networks, which are all 3 of them associated with major Hollywood studios and are very reluctant to go after their actors.
Yes, indeed.
So let's play 2.
It's been 13 years since Hurricane Katrina ravaged parts of New Orleans. But for some residents of the lower 9th Ward, the area hardest hit by the storm, recovery never came.
Everything I ever owned, I lost in Hurricane Katrina. All of my childhood memories, all of my pictures, toys, my clothes. Just coming back, I cried. I cried for my community. I cried for myself. I could not wait to get back into this neighborhood. When I first came back to the city, I had no thoughts about moving back to the 9th Ward, but I really wanted to come back to the city. So when Make It Right came to me with the opportunity to move back, I was so excited about that thought.
In 2006, Make It Right, a nonprofit founded by actor Brad Pitt, announced plans to build green, affordable homes in the lower 9th Ward.
150 homes is our goal to begin with.
Pitt raised millions of dollars, solicited designs from famous architects, and brought attention to a community in need. But Make It Right's homes were not free. Kamaria Allen bought her home in 2011 for $130,000.
Oh.
She says problems began almost immediately.
I moved into my home October 6, 2011. I put that key in my door the first time, and I did a happy dance for like 5 minutes. I was so excited. By October 20th, I began to notice a major issue. My outlets in my kitchen area were corroded and rusted. I had water leaks. I had holes outside of my home. I did notice that my allergies had gotten a lot worse. The foundation is cracking. It's falling apart. There's a big water leak right here, and it was causing a lot of moisture to go into the home.
At one point, Kamaria noticed mushrooms growing on the side of her house and took photos to document the problem. She began having headaches and felt tired all the time, symptoms reflected in a doctor's note she shared with NBC News. Kamaria says Make It Right addressed minor repairs like adding tile, but wasn't responsive on bigger problems like mold. She moved out less than a year later and in with her parents, who also owned a Make It Right house, where again she says she encountered the same mold and water damage issues.
Wow. Well, first of all, mold is really bad. I know because I have the allergy, and it can really affect you. And when you got mold in your house, I mean, this can really make you very sick.
Well, it gets between the walls, the exterior and interior walls, and it just takes over the place, and it just sends spores out all day and night.
Yeah, and you got the mushrooms.
Holes and mushrooms growing on the thing. Come on.
Now, this report comes, of course, amidst an expected crisis. So I guess that's part of why it aired. They may have had this on the shelf for a while. This particular report. And
I believe so. Yeah.
And the other thing that's going on is, there is quite a rift between Brad and Angelina, and maybe eyes on Angelina, what kind of power she's got. Because I agree, this is not a typical thing for all three networks to go against a Hollywood superstar.
No, very unusual. So let's wrap it with number 3.
Throughout the years, I have called Make It Right on their cell phones. I have emailed Make It Right. I've asked them many times to please just hear us out, or to solve our issues, and they would make promises. They made promises. So we're going to give you a call back, or we're going to stop by your house. We're going to make a meeting. We're going to set a meeting for you and your parents, and everything has not taken place. Nothing's taken place.
Make It Right did pay Kamaria a cash settlement, reimbursing her for the down payment and a year of the mortgage on her old house. Kamaria says she can't afford to move again, and Make It Right has stopped returning their calls about her parents' home.
It's been years since I've seen any type of progress from Make It Right. It's been years since I've had any kind of contact with Make It Right.
While Make It Right has worked with some homeowners on repairs or relocation, many residents say the organization has not been responsive. Kamaria signed a non-disclosure agreement as part of her settlement with Make It Right, but has decided to break it.
I was afraid to speak because of my non-disclosure agreement, but at this point, I feel like it's my duty to speak out. Oh, sure. I feel like I have to speak out to get the word out about Brad Pitt's organization, to let people know that we're suffering down here.
Make It Right's mission was an experiment in high quality at low cost. And while the houses may have been stylish, some were not designed with Louisiana's climate in mind. According to community activists in the lower Ninth, Make It Right has replaced the flat roofs on 18 of their homes with slanted ones.
Huh.
So they've replaced a few flat tops. These are flat top houses, which of course don't work everywhere. And Louisiana is a humid, kind of a musty place that needs a certain kind of, you'd have to know what you're doing. I don't know what the problem was here, but it was a disaster. And I think what I got out of it, though, was this. I signed a non-disclosure. Yeah. Now, this is a black, probably a woman, lower middle class, upper middle class. She's in the middle class somewhere. And she says, screw this. I think there's going to be, by the way, I'm saying this because I think this is going to be a trend. A lot of people are cowed by the non-disclosure, many of which are illegal, especially in California. Most non-disclosures don't hold water. And you can go with the assumption that I am a black woman has been screwed over by this Make It Right organization, which won't even return my calls. And now I'm talking about it, and they're suing me because I violated a non-disclosure. And the only reason for the non-disclosure is to keep you from knowing the truth.
Right. And the media loves it. And the media loves it. And the media loves it. And I will say,
eats a non-disclosure violation up.
I will say this really started with Stormy Daniels. She started the most recent, screw the non-disclosure, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And I happen to...
if nothing else, we can maybe thank Stormy Daniels at some point in the future for making these non-disclosures...
null and void.
Null and void, as they should be.
You remember on maybe 2 shows ago, I played this clip. It was Stormy, maybe it was the last show. Stormy Daniels on a Dutch television show with Twan talking about something she might have on Trump.
Is there something you know now, which we will know soon, that could bring down this presidency?
I say that we have yes, there's stuff that I know, and I would say it's 50-50 shot at this point, which is pretty scary odds if you're the president.
And I think I know what it is. Wasn't that?
Does it have anything to do with his hand size?
No. Tucker Carlson had Michael Avenatti on the show, and of course, Carlson has been calling him a creepy porn lawyer for a long time. And I have to say, he had him on the show. Then they had the lower third, creepy porn lawyer talks to Tucker. And at a certain point, they just abbreviated it to CPL, which in my world means commercial pilot's license. But okay, CPL. I thought that was really rude. I mean, the guy comes on, he knows there's going to be a fight.
I thought it was incredibly rude.
You did or did not?
I did, too.
Yeah, I thought it was rude. Yeah.
There's no reason to do that.
No, it was just lame.
But I will say this. It was very funny.
It was funny and consistent, but still, it was rude. But not once, but twice did Avenatti say something that I think is going to come back.
Look, you traveled here with policy advisors who've worked on other campaigns to the show tonight.
I have no idea.
I think you'd be ready for a simple question.
I didn't travel here with policy advisors. Can I ask you? Let me ask you a question.
No, I don't think.
Why is it?
Why don't you get a TV show and then you can ask me a question? I've asked you a simple question.
Why is it that you don't call? Why is it that you don't call Donald Trump the creepy porn president? He's the one that had sex with a 4-month-old son at home with my client without a condom.
Without a condom. Now, why would he say that? And why would he bring it up again?
Why are you not exploiting her?
I'm right with you. I know exactly where you're going.
Hold on. Because she wants to, Tucker. And
she wants to.
This is America. This is America. And guess what? If a woman wants to perform in a strip club, she does so.
But you're getting rich.
Even though people, I'm not getting rich. Even though people like you, demean her.
I'm not demeaning
her.
You're the one who's profiting.
You're the one that refers to her consistently as a porn star, and as to me as a creepy porn lawyer, and meanwhile you give the president a pass who had unprotected sex with the porn star with a 4-month-old son at home.
So that's his message. What was your takeaway from it?
The 4-month-old son is Trump's.
That's taking it further than I thought. Interesting.
Where were you taking it?
I was thinking that he paid for her to have an abortion.
He wouldn't have said 4-month-old son at home.
No, he had Barron, the 4-month-old son at home.
Oh, okay, then it would be an abortion.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why it was $150,000.
Well, then she's got the documentation.
And she may.
Yeah.
And she may.
And that's going to hurt him with the Christian right.
It would hurt him on a lot of issues.
So, well, that's probably why they stuck the word amoral. The real problem with him.
Yes.
See, somebody knows this is going on.
Yeah.
So in the White House, in that New York Times editorial, that one word that stood out was
amoral. Amoral
was the word amoral, and that was the conclusion. The problem with this guy is not that he's unhinged and he's a Cheeto. The problem is he's amoral, and that's what's pointing right at that little
and a hypocrite. Well,
he never really has been a pro-life, pro-choice one or the other guy.
But in the mind of Dimension B, he's Roe v. Wade is on the chopping block, or just Roe.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. Because they got Roe v. Wade. He doesn't put Kavanaugh in. The guy hates Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
With his porn star friend.
Yes, that he had unprotected sex with, and of course we don't call it an abortion. We call it female reproductive health care. Just want to get my terms right.
Sounds good, but they're going to have to start wrapping this. They got
to hurry up.
This tragic play. They got to wrap up the Shakespearean drama a little bit, in the next few months, because they're coming back at him. I think the Republicans are making a push to let's get out the vote, because you're going to be screwed if these Democrats are all a bunch of socialists get in office.
Here's the latest in the saga, which we've all probably heard about.
Tonight, the mysterious new twist about Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh comes from top Democrat Dianne Feinstein. Feinstein revealing little, saying she has, quote, received information from an individual concerning Kavanaugh. That individual, Feinstein says, strongly requested confidentiality, declined to come forward or press the matter further, and I have honored that decision. Now referring it to federal investigative authorities. The FBI tonight confirming they've included the information in Kavanaugh's background file.
The court in Heller, the Supreme Court, upheld...
let me interrupt you because...
Feinstein's move comes after Democrats attacked Kavanaugh in contentious hearings. And just 1 week before the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to vote on his nomination. The White House questioning Feinstein's timing. Not until the eve of Kavanaugh's confirmation has Senator Feinstein or anyone raised the specter of new information about him, blasting it as an 11th hour attempt to delay Kavanaugh's confirmation. Republican Senator John Cornyn's skeptical. This is a statement about a secret letter regarding a secret matter and an unidentified person. Right.
Senator Feinstein.
Republicans say Feinstein's move will not delay next week's vote.
I found this to be disturbing.
Well, I don't know why you'd find it to be disturbing, because this is part of your original blueprint for Kavanaugh.
Oh, that he has to get kicked out. Yeah, that he can't make it through. But I didn't expect this to happen. I mean, this is really low. Someone who's anonymous with no proof, no documentation, and then Feinstein gives it to investigators. I mean, what are we doing? I hate to say this because I'm not an ageist necessarily, but she's a very old woman who is very susceptible to being bullshitted. I remember working with her when she was one of the board members at the Air Pollution District. I've told the story before. I'll tell it again. Feinstein?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you only knew the other one who always wanted to have sex with everybody.
They were both on the board of advisors that ran the Air Pollution District.
All right.
But Feinstein was the other one. You've heard the story before. You'll remember.
I never get enough of it.
So we had all the documents that you would use were in a document room where they also had the dispatchers that women were dispatching in there. All the cars were radio controlled driving around. And all these documents, you want to get a file on some company, you had to go in there to get these files out. And you just walk in and grab some files and walk out. It was getting to the point where people were just wandering in and out and flirting with the dispatchers and giving them a hard time and then grabbing files and leaving them all over the office. It was a nightmare. So somebody decided that this is out. You have to, because the problem was this back door that was open that people would just wander in, and you had to go through the front door. But they had to leave the back door open to keep the place cool, or the women would be sweating to death in there. So they put a chain across the door. You can't go in. If you want to go in to get files, go around the front and check them out the way you're supposed to.
Yes, properly.
Instead of just wandering in. Feinstein's making an inspection of the office for some unknown reason, and she sees the chain and goes ape shit. Why do you chain these women into this room? There should be no chain here. These women, they're what do you think of them? And she makes a big scene. So they have to take the chain off the damn door, which opens it up again for the people to steal the files. And so instead of the chain blocking the door and letting some air get through there, they put a door up and locked it. And so now the women are in this stuffy room. And thank you, Dianne Feinstein, for helping the women.
And how old was she then?
Well, this was probably
30, 40 years ago, 50
years ago. Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And she would
just see things, and she misinterprets. She was not that bright ever. I mean, the fact that she got railroaded when she was heading the Senate Intelligence Committee, and she was trying to get that torture report out, and they wouldn't let her, and they were spying on her and everybody else, and she didn't go ape shit then is beyond me. And she just gets pushed around. I think she's susceptible to being, pushed into some direction that's not wise. I don't think she's that bright.
There you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. This is boots on the ground. And since we're here,
that's just one lone story, but you get the impression that she was this way. I think, she wasn't she was just a city councilwoman that's somehow catapulted her way to the Senate. It was very strange.
Well, since we're here, and I don't want to wait another year or two, just tell me a quick version of the Boxer story, please.
Barbara Boxer was notorious when they had these meetings. They would have these advisory board meetings, and sometimes air pollution inspectors would be around the office, and she would always try to bum a ride home. It never happened to me. I don't know if this story is even true. Just a disclaimer.
No.
But one guy says, hey, don't be around the office after these advisory board meetings because Boxer's on the prowl. She'll roam around and she'll say, hey, you got a car? Can you drive me home? And so because we all had cars. And so she talked some poor schlub into driving her home to Marin County where she was from. And then she'd make try to get the guy to go to bed with her.
And you always dodged that bullet. I'm so proud of you.
Yes, well,
very good.
I worked in the East Bay, so I was rarely in the city. I tried to stay out of there.
I'm in the EU. Well, not in the EU actually. Switzerland's not in the EU. A very pretty money. I hadn't seen the Swiss francs for a while. Very pretty. Just nice bills.
Is it plastic yet?
No, not plastic. Not the ones I got. So I do have some, but I do have some European based stories, some EU stories, and I'd like to start with a quickie on Brexit. This just broke this morning. Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, who has now apparently some ideas about Brexit.
Unfortunately, we're at a position now where the government's embarking on negotiations that are going to lead to one of two things. Either a bad deal, and that includes the possibility of us leaving the EU without knowing the future relationship with the European Union, or no deal. And both those options will be deeply damaging to London and the country. So what I'm saying to the government is, for the first time, the British public should have a say on the outcome of those negotiations, including the option of staying in the EU.
Redo. We are so from the future. We are so from the future.
I've been hanging in there with that from day one.
Yeah, it's good. Very troubling story from Norway. A guy I know, Arjen Kamphuis, who is a investigative reporter from the Netherlands, does a lot of work for WikiLeaks. He has been missing for several weeks. He went to Norway. People aren't quite sure if he was just going there to kayak or what he was doing, but all of a sudden,
I've heard about this.
He's gone, and they did find, and this is Ancilla. You know Ancilla. She knows him very, very well. And she's really
making a plea on
she's going on, and she's going on TV in Holland and everything, trying to get some information. Here's the latest from the Norwegian police. It's kind of soft-spoken, but you can at least get an idea of where they're thinking and what they're at.
We are working out from three main hypotheses. The first one is that he may have been in an accident. The second one is that he, out of his own choosing and free will, has decided to stay hidden. And the third hypothesis is that he has been the victim of some form of a criminal offense. So far, we haven't found anything new. The first items were found floating in the sea, close to land. They were picked up by a local recreational fisherman. The kayak was found by the police later that night. Haven't received any tips specifically or directly related to the kayak. We have chosen not to, at this time, release to the public which items were found. We have now asked for assistance from the Coast Guard to conduct a search this weekend. Coast Guard has experience in various searches at sea. They have knowledge and skills that we are hoping to benefit from.
There you go. So they don't know if it was foul play, if he wants to be hidden, or if it was some horrible accident. Anyway, it's concerning to all involved.
Yeah. Well, if anyone saw the last season of Berlin Station,
I still have never seen that. Yeah, what happened?
Two of the guys go to it was Norway or Sweden, some middle of nowhere place, and there's assassins everywhere.
Yeah. Well, don't take any rides in foldable kayaks. Then we'll add that to the list. But hopefully he'll turn up, but it's been a while. Staying in the region, we got a very thoughtful note from some boots on the ground from Richard from Sweden, who appreciated us talking about his country, which was in the context of the podcast by Jens and Aaron, who I think were kind of surprised about all the attention they got. These guys have only a couple thousand Twitter followers, and all of a sudden, boom, there's all kinds of people talking about him. And I even saw there was someone bitching and moaning about the barbecue numbers, and you were pushing back, which I thought was nice on the tweeters.
Well, all I did was I asked him if he was in Sweden,
and
he said no. And I said, well, why am I going to listen to you? You're not in Sweden. I want to hear somebody from Sweden telling me what's going on, not some guy outside of the country just taking pot shots. It doesn't. I looked at the statistics, and the statistics indicate otherwise.
That's kind of what was said, yeah. But anyway, Richard, I do want to share some of his note. Did you have a chance to read it? I think you were on the copy.
I read it.
Should I just read a little bit of this? Because I thought some of it was very interesting.
It's a good note.
Thank you for giving my little part of the world some attention. Some points on the election and political parties. Firstly, the Sweden Democrats are by no means a far-right party. They want a large government, high taxes, welfare, etc. They are they're very close to the Social Democrats, except for one point: immigration. They are socialists. They just go against all the rest of the parties who claim there's no such thing as Swedish culture, Swedish people, ethnicity, etc. At least noting worth preserving or acknowledging. And then I wanted to talk about what he felt about his country. I'll go down here a little bit. He says, you're regrettably correct when naming Sweden a shithole country. I don't know if we actually said it that way, but okay. We have no idea. We said it might be a shithole country.
Yes, you did.
I did. Okay, shithole Sweden. People are effing retarded, apparently, and seem to have forgotten about the incredible undemocratic things that took place after the 2014 election. And, of course, happily voted for the same old parties. And then he goes through some. This is all in the show notes, by the way. I put him in there anonymously. Meanwhile, we see our high-trust society crumble before us. The beautiful culture and harsh landscape and climate that has been tamed by our forefathers. This is a guy who loves his country. You can really tell. Tamed by our forefathers over generations and generations into something that the best of seasons can support a moderate population is now being given away to people from completely incompatible cultures. As it stands right now, it is anyone's guess as to who will form the new government. He even talks about a new December overeenkomst to shut out a party that got over 70% of the vote. And then he goes into talking a little bit about what he misses. Or actually, this is interesting. The benefits that you get as a refugee in Sweden, and I guess apparently there's about 20% of the population, of the 10 million there now is immigrant and / refugee. He says the benefits you get as a, quote, refugee are simply outrageous. Even illegal immigrants who have had their case for asylum dismissed and should be deported according to the law are still eligible to free health care. Which, of course, you and I assume Sweden's got free health care for everybody. It's all groovy. Well, it turns out not so. They get better health care than us natives and legal immigrants do. Example, a visit to the dentist costs an asylum seeker 50 kroner, about $5.50, while we regular folk have to pay the full price, about $100 for a checkup, and then thousands of dollars if you're unlucky enough to have a real issue, as it's not a part of the rest of the healthcare system. I thought that was interesting. They don't do dental in Sweden? What the hell is wrong with you? Explain how that makes any sense, he says. Also, if you're in need of medical care, you'd think it stands to reason that the medical care is provided in Swedish, especially as immigrants are getting paid to learn Swedish. But no, a non-Swedish speaker can request free of charge an interpreter at any contact within the healthcare system. So we as a country are basically bribing people from faraway lands to move to this beautiful but harsh land, and they're given so much leeway, it's ridiculous. We now have mosques blasting Islamic prayers at 110 decibels in what was just a decade ago a normal Swedish town. The propaganda is also beyond belief. The immigration wave has been touted as a profit-making operation. It is needed to save our pensions and to keep our high living standards. Again, Please explain to me how importing hundreds of thousands of people from completely different cultures who have no interest in being assimilated or integrated into our culture, and most of which likely will never be a net positive for our society, how this works for us. This has, of course, been debunked. Not that it was necessary. Any person with half a mind could figure it out. Gang shootings with deadly outcomes on a more or less weekly basis now. We have waves of barbecues. Gang rape has dramatically increased. There's general unrest. And, of course, we all know what is really going on. And then he gets really sad about how Volvos suck. They're no good anymore. They don't even have a temperature gauge or a dipstick. You know, we used to make jets. Now we don't make anything anymore. And he feels that his country's going down the tubes.
Well, probably is.
But you never hear that. And also the journalists there, they all have some kind of support from the government. Did you read that in his note?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very smart.
Well, it is if you want to keep people toeing the line. It's very smart.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good idea if you want to keep people toeing the line. I think that's what we do when you talk about Operation Mockingbird. That's support from the government.
I got to tell you, Bob Woodward sounds like he is part of Mockingbird.
You think?
I cut this little piece. This was an interview on the BBC, and the whole thing was 8 minutes. I got it down to about a minute and a half. And all he's talking about continuously with Trump, which I haven't read the book, is about, you know, national security. The country's going to be, we're national security. It's totally some kind of Mockingbird talking points. Just listen to it.
You say it's never happened before.
Not to my knowledge. People have thwarted presidents before, but actually taking the document, there is this kind of renegade movement. As Gary Cohen told an associate, you have to protect the country.
And it's a movement that's working, isn't it? Which also speaks to the chaos, because if Donald Trump wanted to do something and was prevented doing that thing, you'd think he'd come back to it the next day or the next week and get it done.
Well, in some cases he did. It is a back and forth, and people in the White House told me to a certain extent they spend a third of their time stopping things that are dangerous or really not consistent with a policy to protect the United States and the national security. Now that the book is out, he clearly has changed his mind. But again, there is this disorganization, this lack of focus of not understanding how he has to protect the national security. The Secretary of Defense, Mattis, early this year in a National Security Council meeting, when Trump kept asking about why are we paying all this money for forward deployed troops, 28,000 in South Korea, all of the troops in NATO, which he wonders, why are we protecting Europe? Why aren't they paying for this? The Secretary of Defense has to tell him, because we're trying to prevent World War III. Now think about that for a moment, that the Secretary of Defense has to remind the President of the United States that we're trying to prevent World War III.
But what's their aim, Bob? Did you get the impression that they're just hanging on for dear life, or that there is an end to this?
It's very disconcerting to people. There is not a clear path to resolving it. This is not what you do in a normal, normal's not the word, a necessary, engaged effort to protect the country.
I think his point is clear.
Yeah, I guess.
Protect the country. Well, Trump is danger to the country. That was his whole mission, I guess.
Well, his emphasis on World War III.
Yes, there's that. The UK, I had to get from RT. I was looking for it. There was a European court decision about the United Kingdom, Gitmo Nation East's mass surveillance practices, who they target to surveil. And of course, they have a lot of our technology, the part of the Five Eyes. So it's all one big brother
happy
looking
family.
at you. What's that?
Happy family.
Yeah, one big happy family. So not only who they're surveilling, but how they're surveilling. And I thought the information was interesting because you don't hear, I didn't see any of this. I did look for the the networks, the U.S. networks, and I didn't see anything on Sky or BBC, but this was a pretty big deal, I think.
Journalists and civil rights groups scored a victory today against the British government's mass surveillance system. Europe's top rights court calling the so-called Big Brother program unlawful and a violation of human rights.
We have won a landmark judgment today at the European Court, confirming that the mass surveillance practiced by the UK government, as revealed by Edward Snowden, is unlawful. And we have argued this consistently over the past 5 years. And it's a really important victory for people's rights in the UK.
I declare open the public hearing on the admissibility and merits in the case of Big Brother Watch and others versus the United Kingdom.
The judges ruled 5-2 that mass interception of phone and internet data violated Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which guarantees the right to privacy thanks to inadequate safeguards.
Specifically as regards Article 8, it found that there was a lack of safeguards and oversight when it came to selecting the traffic for examination and the subsequent going through that information.
In a further victory, the court ruled that the program also provided insufficient safeguards in respect of confidential journalistic material, violating Article 10 of the European Convention, which protects the freedom of expression and information.
As regards Article 10, it found that there were not enough safeguards when it came to examining the data that had been found by the authorities as regards the journalistic confidentiality.
The court said in a statement, while the court was satisfied that the intelligence services of the United Kingdom take their European Human Rights Convention obligations seriously and are not abusing their powers, it found that there was an adequate independent oversight of the selection and search processes involved in the operation.
I think it's interesting.
It is interesting.
But severely underreported. I mean, to break 2 articles of the European deal, I forget which laws it is, for human rights, it's probably the protocols for human rights, 8 and 10. That's a pretty big deal. But no one's up in arms about it that I can see.
Well, no one's up in arms about anything except Trump causing this hurricane somehow.
Final thing, which is just fun for us because we pay attention to these kinds of things. The EU Parliament has their own kind of television station. It's not really, I think it's on some cable networks, but you can certainly watch it online on their EU Parliament channel. And Juncker the Drunker, Jean-Claude Juncker, did his annual speech, kind of the State of the Union, state of the Starfleet. And for some reason, which may be evident based upon this clip, which there's a link in the show notes, nashownotes.com, so you can go take a look at it. He was wearing the exact same outfit as last year. Same tie, same suit, same shirt. Which is like, okay, maybe it's his lucky outfit. And you have to see this on video, but it works in audio as well. He does his speech, and first of all, there's not a lot of people there. There's not a lot of people in the big Starfleet Command audience. So there's a tepid response, just clap, 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 clap. But then EU Parliament television just mixes in what looks like last year's speech, and all of a sudden they cut to the parliamentary members, and there's a whole bunch more of them, standing ovation. The audio goes up about 50 dB. Yeah, listen to it. Listen.
Merci de m'avoir écouté.
Yeah, clap, clap, clap. Now listen. So this is, kind of like, okay. Now, why they kept it in this? This is unedited as I'm playing it for you. So it's kind of dying down a little bit. And hey, we need to make this look successful. Bring it on! Start the old tape.
What?
Yeah. And now a big standing ovation. There's a lot more people there. Yeah, they just mixed in last year's tape.
That is disgusting and also humorous and laughable, amateurish. It's like this is like this is your future.
They didn't even do it right.
They don't need to.
No, exactly. Oh,
what's the point of doing it right? Let's just do a cheap-ass job. And people, oh, yeah, I saw it. They gave him a standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
You're lying to me. I saw it. They were giving him a standing ovation. What you saw is bullcrap.
Exactly.
It's idiocracy.
No, it's just the European Union.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
We got a note from a guy from last time. This was John Overall. Last show, you did not read the full note because this is one. Here's an executive producer at $238. I want to read $256.33. Twice his dad's age plus $100.33. I won't have to read this note because we asked him for a note. We said, "Hey, you got a note? Send it."
Oh yeah, I remember that. Sure.
Yeah. So it's actually a long note, but it's worth reading. I'm overdue to make a donation. Here's an honor of my father who passed away on September 10th. Please read out the following, recognizing him and his service to our country. This note's a readout since PayPal always messes up the formatting.
Which it did. Which it did. Hence, this made good. Yes, exactly.
This donation of $256.33, twice his age plus $100 is in honor of my father, Chief Warrant Officer CW04 Gerald W. Overall, a 30-year retired Navy vet who passed away. He served his country with distinction, earning the following medals and honors during his service. By the way, I want to mention that this is what we have for listeners. Philippine Republic Presidential Unit Citation, Navy and Marine Corps Medal for Valor, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal 2 times, Meritorious Unit Commendation, Navy and Medal Overseas Ribbon, Service Ribbon, C, Service Deployment Naval Achievement Award, Medal, Battle Efficiency E Award, Good Conduct Medal 2 times. We can leave that one out. Vietnam Service Medal 3 awards and a Vietnam Campaign Medal. Overall, was a man who made an impression as everyone he met and influenced many lives. Chief Warrant Officer Overall spent the majority of his career on aircraft carriers such as the Franklin Roosevelt, the Kitty Hawk, and the Constellation. He also served on which is a hell of a ship. He also served on air bases such as Beeville, Texas, and Rota, Spain, and spent a couple of years on and off in Vietnam in the mid-'60s. Fair winds and following seas. May long your big jib draw. And since he retired to Canada and passed away here, if anyone has an inside track on how to get a color guard for military honors in Canada, please contact me on my website at johnoverall.com.
Wow, the only thing he missed was Eagle Scout. And pretty much everything there.
Well, I'm sure there's Eagle Scouts involved. Anyway, so that's the message we didn't read, and now you read it. Well, so johnoverall.com, if you know some way that Canada can do a better job of taking care of this guy.
Hold on a second. Send me that note, because this is exactly what Agent Orange can take care of.
Well, maybe.
We may be able to help.
It's possible.
Forward that to me.
I will.
Okay.
I will have to. I will do that. Let me make a big note.
I'll ask you again after the show.
We're not going to remember anything if we don't write it down.
Darling, remind me to have John send me the note. Thank you. I know Tina will write it down.
Yeah, right at the end of the show, I'll do that.
Okay.
But meanwhile, I got to thank a few people for show 1060. What is it? 60.
1069. We had a great opportunity for a donation gag.
Oh. Damn. $10.69.
I like what you did anyway.
Von Glitchka. Yeah, did you think it was creative?
Yes, I did.
I got flack for it from some guys. I've seen some cheap tricks in my life, Dvorak.
Well, I don't know. It's like
exploiting Adam's engagement for the show.
Either you're using love and romance, or we could have gone with a sexual position. I mean,
1069.
Yeah, ha ha ha.
Yeah, another snide,
another glib little donation gimmick
idea. Von Glitchka starts us off at $123.45. He'd like the full Fulmer at the end of the show if possible.
Possible.
He's going to claim his. What is he claiming here? Let me get my keyboard.
You didn't have your keyboard with you the whole time?
Yeah. And with this donation, I finally claimed my knighthood. I thought he liked the title Sir Vonster Knight of the Vector Realm.
I always thought, I mean, he certainly has donated enough to be a knight. Maybe he just decided
he's knight now.
He was ready for it. Yeah.
Krishna Kumar Narayanan in Dortmund, Deutschland, $100. Unsubscribe to Time Magazine, reading Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, great book, which says intuitive response to the events in life are all often biased and wrong, M5M, which can be overcome with common sense. That's what we do on this show. Common sense, logic, and a little bit of critical thinking. No agenda show, he says. Thank you for improving my mental health. Krishna in Dortmund.
Thank you.
Nice area. Baron Mark Tanner in Whittier, 7501. Sir Robert Smiley, 75. Birthdays coming up. Jacob Hernandez, or Jacob, sorry. Space Force. Sir David Barron, Pennsylvania, 5678. Aaron Garcia in Phoenix, Arizona, 5555. Sir Arthur Gobitz, 5497.
No, this is the donation amount. This was the 91 million lira.
Yeah, this is our gimmick.
Yeah.
5497. And this is 91,000 lira.
Yes.
I gave 91,000 to the show.
Yep. Arthur Gobitz.
Andrew Blowers, Michael in Windsor Hill, Maryland. Michael Staduhar. These are all 5497. Sir Ronald Gardner in San Diego. Edward G. Buchan in St. Kilda, Victoria, Australia. Robert Bruckner, Gilbert, Arizona. Devin Enright. We, by the way, really appreciate Australians that help us out here.
Certainly do.
Devin Enright, because you get the same news we get. It's lousy. Devin Enright, New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Only you got suckered into giving your guns up, you fools.
Yeah, well, it's too late now. Yancey Summerer in Houston, Texas. Congratulations on the engagement.
Thank you.
Carl Schneider, 5497. These are all happy engagement donations.
Yes.
Brian Sidorowicz. Columbus, Indiana. Jeffrey Steckroth. Robert Marsh. Justin Texera. And last on the list of well-wishers is Kerry Rosenbarker.
Yes.
Well, it's been a good while since he...
on behalf of Curry and the Keeper, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. We appreciate it.
Now these are $50 donors, name and location if possible. Trevor Hoagland in Portland, Oregon. John Haller in Missoula, Montana. Sir Chris Slewinski in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Long-time donor.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call him out and speak. Pay attention to Chris. John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma, one of my favorite little town names. Micah, or it's Micah. This is the word it always gets you. It's Micah. Miller in Bethel, Pennsylvania. Keith Yarborough in Austin, Texas, down the street from you. And last but not least, Sir Jerry Wingenroth in Saugus, California.
And we thank everybody, who came in under 50 as well. And thank you all very much for supporting the best podcast in the universe, the No Agenda Show. It is highly appreciated. We have a couple other things we need to mention. We have a meetup happening on, is it Friday, I believe? Let me see.
Yeah, next Friday.
I have it here somewhere. Yes, this is Friday, September 21st. This is the No Agenda Northern Silicon Valley Region Bay Area Meetup. You can find it at meetup.com/noagenda. And it will be held at Drake's dealership. Is this a car dealership?
No, it's an ex-car dealership turned into a large bar.
Oh, okay. That's at 2325 Broadway in Oaktown.
Yeah, and you can get to this Oaktown address if you want to take BART. There's a BART exit walking distance to Drake's.
Very nice.
And if you're coming in from anywhere other than Oakland area or the Bay Area or East Bay, I would probably recommend that.
I got an emergency karma request, and it's from someone who was close to being a knight, and he says he's in Alaska, spent his entire year on food stamps, barely scraping by. He's got 2 huge interviews finally lined up for some jobs that could save his life, and I don't doubt him. Being on food stamps in Alaska, it seems like a rough deal. I don't know where he is in Alaska, but man. I was watching the Bush Pilots of Alaska in German, German dubbed, It's pretty hardcore there.
Yeah, I think.
It's not for us. So I'll give him that emergency karma. Jobs karma. Hold on. Let me do that properly. There we go.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
All right. And once again, remember, we have another show coming up on Thursday. And you can go support us at
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday.
Oh, going to make this really easy. We only have one on the list as far as I can tell. Sir Robert Smiley says happy birthday to his dementia B mother Betty, and she'll be celebrating on the 17th, and we say happy birthday to her and congratulations on behalf of everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Now we do have 2 nightings today. This is nice. You okay?
Yeah, I'm just getting the sheath here. I got to spray it with a little ranch hand.
Okay. Oh, does sound a little bit squeaky. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, here's mine. Perfect. Up on the podium, please, Scott Lovenberg, and Von Glitcha. Nice to have you both up here, gentlemen. You're about to take place in the at the round table where we have all of our No Agenda knights and dames, and I'm therefore very proud to pronounce the boom. Sir Software Dev and Sir Vonster, Knights of the Vector Realm. Gentlemen, for both of you, we have the requisite Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay. We got Horseheads and Pumpkin Ale. We got Dr. Pepper and a Quick Handy. We got Captain Morgan's and Women with Questionable Reputation. Fish Pie and Fellatio, Beer and Blunts. We got Bong Hits and Bourbon, Sparkling Cider and Escorts, Ginger Ale and Gerbils, Breast Milk and Pablum, and Mutton and Mead. And both of you have a ring waiting for you. Please go to noagendanation.com/rings and give Eric the Shill all of your dimensions, AB or ring size, whatever you choose, and we'll get that out to you as soon as possible, along with your certificate, your sealing wax, and please let us know you received it and show it off on the tweeters. Everybody seems to be enjoying that. And again, thank you for supporting the work at the No Agenda Show, Dvorak.org/NA. So there's a purge going on the Reddits.
Oh, what? Tell me. I have no idea. I don't keep up with that stuff.
Yes. So they have this new person. What is her name now? This is a new person who is in charge of, the current director of policy at Reddit, Jessica Ashooh. ASHOOH. Yes, exactly. And she has shut down, I think, a couple of different subreddits. But one of the important ones was the Q subreddit, where a lot of people hung out.
They took care of Q.
They took care of Q, apparently.
Q predicted this, you know.
Yeah, you knew what happened. Well, I don't have my Q. I don't think I have the Q glasses with me. Did I bring? Let me see.
We don't want to put them on.
You don't?
They're not fitted right.
Now, this is the Great Awakening subreddit, and it's shut down. It's gone.
As well it should be.
I do have a clip of this person who is actually. Let's listen first to one of the Reddit.
Wasn't she in the Clinton administration?
Yeah. Interesting you say that. She actually has been working for the Atlantic Council most recently.
No wonder they shut it down, of course.
Here's a little bit of her talking, before she was director of policy at Reddit, talking about Syria and what we should be doing over there.
So a no-fly zone would be a great thing, and in my opinion would probably be one of the only ways that you could get humanitarian assistance into the besieged areas in Syria. But that's not exactly what Mr. Kerry called for. He called for planes to stop flying, which again is a situation with no enforcement mechanism. And without an enforcement mechanism, I just don't see how one could convince the regime, which seems very set in its current ways, and the Russians not to stop aerial bombardments. There's more than one way to create a no-fly zone, however, and I want to make this point, because when people talk about a no-fly zone, they often envision it as an area that's patrolled by the United States Air Force or other major Air Force, very costly and a very large operation. But you can create a no-fly zone simply by making it unattractive for planes to fly there. And you could achieve that by providing limited amounts of anti-aircraft weaponry to vetted units of the Syrian opposition.
Oh, okay.
If, a helicopter dropping barrel bombs were able to be taken down, then you can best believe that the Syrian government would think twice about flying helicopters over civilian areas.
Wow, yeah. Very nice. Yeah, arm the rebels. That's great. How'd that work out? That was a really good idea. So anyway, so she's in charge of some of this. And I also have a clip.
So now you're talking about, it's ANNAESHOO.
It's, Jessica Ashew.
Oh, Jessica Ashew.
Ashew, yes.
Okay, I'm thinking of Anna Eshoo as the Clinton person.
Oh, okay. No, this is Jessica Ashew. But she's been around. She's been around.
How you spell her name?
ASHOOH. Ashew.
Wow, what a name.
Yes. Are you going to consult the Book of Knowledge?
I'm looking at the Book of Knowledge now. There she is. She was going on. She's 28. She's a military expert?
Yeah, apparently.
Is this the same person that was giving that speech?
Yes, from the Atlantic Council.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. But
why don't you get some uptalkers in Atlantic Council? Some uptalkers.
Yeah, we need some uptalkers. Well, we have one of the co-founders of Reddit who was brought back, Alexis Chanian. Alexis, wasn't it Aaron Schwartz? Wasn't he the other co-founder of Reddit? Wasn't he instrumental?
Yeah, maybe. Could be.
I think it was instrumental.
I was never a Reddit guy.
No, please. Well, listen to him talking about how they police things.
There are all these fascinating ethical.
This is I think this is a CBS or NBC interview. So they jazzed up the tech segment with all kinds of little cool music.
Questions that tech leaders are now taking on. You look at the power of social networks. Look at some of the issues Twitter has had with banning certain groups. And I know Reddit took a stand recently and banned 3 alt-right groups. Has your line on what you choose to ban and how you go about it, has that shifted at all?
One of the most important things we did when Steve and I came back 2 years ago, it was actually one of the first things we did, was update the content policy for Reddit. That created the rules of the road for what was allowed on the platform. And we even built an anti-evil team, which is like our SEAL Team 6.
Take me inside the anti-evil team. What is an anti-evil team? We should have one at every organization, I think.
We're really lucky. Our first hire at Reddit 12 years ago was one of the smartest people, hardest working people I know, Dr. Chris Slow. And we're putting his brain power behind this team that basically tackles the most pressing issues that are affecting the community with regard to evil. So what we mean by that is everything from spam to any kind of harassment or just violations of our content policies to dealing with ring voting, people who are trying to cheat their way onto the front page. So, we made a thoughtful decision as a company to take some of our best people and not focus them on growth or revenue, typical Silicon Valley things, but instead focus them on this, which admittedly is going to mean less short-term growth in things like revenue and traffic, but we would believe a longer-term value because we've learned from some of our peers that have had significant missteps that it's important to be investing in today.
Okay, well, good luck with that, my friend, because it's not going to work. It will not work. I sure hope they don't, close down our subreddit. That would be a tragedy.
That would be a plus. Good.
No.
We don't
know. No. They need that space. They need to do that. And by the way, Nick,
you're right. That's instead of bugging us. Yeah, good idea.
Nick the Rat has actually he's doing something very interesting. He goes into the No Agenda subreddit. And he starts agreeing with the trolls, but like all caps. Yeah, Adam and John, those a-holes. I can't believe they're asking money. Send money for their show. It's crazy. And they don't know how to respond. It's like they got a brain freeze. And he's doing it everywhere. It's very funny. He's very good at it.
Yeah, he's good.
Nick, yeah, he's
I'm looking at this woman. She came out. She has a LinkedIn page, so I get a little background on her.
Mm-hmm.
She this is like, I don't want to. What is that? The spot, the something. I forget what it was.
The spot.
The something.
Oh, you mean spot the? I'm trying to. How do we sing that? Or is it spot the troll? No.
Yeah, that must be.
No. It's
spot.
There we go.
Spook. Spot the spook. Everybody wants to spot the spook.
Let's look at her background. She starts off at the American University of Beirut. In the Lebanese politics, Arabic language, Arabic media, political development. Okay, she's there for a year. She was a No One Left Behind board member. Went to Brown. Brown took, what do you think, international relations with concentration on global security in the Middle East. It just all adds up to Reddit to me. But anyway, let's go on.
Spook.
And then she goes, the next thing you know, she's got a Marshall Scholarship to Oxford.
Yes.
So she goes there and she actually gets a Doctor of Philosophy in International Relations. Then she becomes a subcontractor for the Eurasia Group, and then a shift editor at Oxford Analytica, which I think is some sort of a paper mill.
Well, yeah.
Senior analyst, policy planning department in the United Arab Emirates Minister of Foreign Affairs office, Abu Dhabi.
Sounds good to me.
And the next thing you know, she's the deputy director at the Middle East Strategy Task Force in the Atlantic Council. And from there, because of all the logic we put together, all the things she's leading up to, she becomes a director of policy at Reddit and shuts down Q. Yes.
Nice work.
I applaud you.
Very good work, Jessica. And
Holy mackerel, is this not obvious?
It is to us.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And she shut down Q.
Speech on how to give the rebels in Syria a bunch of anti-aircraft batteries. What is that? Why is she qualified to give that speech?
She's at the top of her career right now.
And by the way, she's only 23.
Yeah. 23.
No, I don't know what her age is, but
top of her career. Top of her career.
Good.
Yeah.
You graduated from Brown in 2006. That would make her around. You're usually what time? You were 22 when you graduated from college. That was 12 years ago. 22 plus 12. She's 34.
34. Yeah.
My guess.
Yep. That's what you do.
She may have been on a fast track, though. A lot of women that are this talented, they tend to they graduate sooner. So she may actually be 20, not 34, but 33 or 32. Probably 33. Hey.
Ooh, nice. It is the magic number.
33. That's a magic number.
Wow.
Good one.
I missed that completely.
Yep. There it is.
All right. Let's take a look at. We got a couple things going on. So the FBI director shows up on the Good Morning Show to talk to Nora. And they're pitching this, what Trump actually ran on a lot of this stuff. Of China, bad guys are stealing all our stuff. And so they're trying to twist this into a new narrative where it's China, they're trying to steal all our stuff, which is what Trump was always saying. To China, they're trying to steal all our stuff, and Trump's not helping. He's
Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Good.
Trump's fault. So let's listen to these two little clips. Now, be careful about the number 2. That's the second clip, and I put the 2 in the middle of her name for some stupid reason. FBI versus China.
Yeah, gotcha.
America may be under attack by China in this way. China is the target of economic espionage investigations in nearly all 56 FBI field offices. We met up with FBI Director Christopher Wray.
Yes.
China is now under investigation by all the field. All
56 field offices.
Last time? Wasn't it terrorism that was under investigation by all the field offices before?
Yes.
Remember that? What happened to terrorism? And when you're listening to her interview this guy, ask yourself, hey, wait, I thought terrorism was the number one problem we got here in the world.
Someone's waking up, I guess. Who did this report? Nora. So it's CBS?
Nora.
CBS. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Investigations in nearly all 56 FBI field offices. We met up with FBI Director Christopher Wray at the agency's headquarters in Washington yesterday. He told us in an exclusive interview how China is looking to steal secrets on everything from American technology to agriculture.
If I look at our counterintelligence mission overall, China is our top priority in that space. We've had cases involving everything from turbine technology in places like upstate New York to corn seed development in Iowa.
What do you mean corn seed? They're trying to steal our corn seed?
Well, of course, we have, I think, America's agriculture is the envy of the world, and we're very proud of it, and we should be. And whenever we're the best at something, somebody else is chasing us. That's something that I think most Americans don't understand.
Well, what are they trying to steal? What do they want?
They're trying to steal our trade secrets, our ideas, our innovation.
The U.S. Trade Representative put a figure on the theft of intellectual property, and it's up to $600 billion annually.
Well, this, of course, is Trump's mission. He knows what China's up to, so that's why he's told the FBI to go all in on China.
Yeah, well, they're blaming Trump in some way in this story as usual. But of course, that $600 million kind of matches the trade deficit. Just
billion. You said million.
So, $600 billion. And now he drops a little. This thing, by the way, was about 15 minutes long. This is the best part of it. And he does have a little saying in here that I want to kind of mention when he's finished.
China's goal is to take what it can and become essentially self-sufficient and put American businesses out of business.
Well, to replace America as the world's economic superpower.
I think that's their goal, and they're pretty open about it.
It's not only these individuals who are engaged in spying its companies. You've raised concerns about the Chinese telecom giants, Huawei and ZTE. Why are they national security risks?
Well, anytime you start talking about foreign companies that are beholden to foreign governments that don't share our values and our dedication to the rule of law, it enables them to conduct economic espionage. It enables them to conduct different kinds of cyber attacks. It enables them to steal information in a variety of ways.
The president intervened a few months ago to save ZTE from some of these crippling financial penalties that Congress wanted. Was the president wrong?
I continue to be very concerned, and I think the intelligence community continues to be very concerned about the threat to our telecommunications infrastructure presented by some of the kinds of companies that are beholden to foreign governments that don't share our values. And the idea of letting the fox in the hen house is something that I think people need to be really, really careful about before we find out that we're going to regret it.
Wow, John, your Pavlovian use of the bell did it. I totally tied the beginning of the show to this moment. Chinese are just rude
because you're
a-holes.
Probably sharing our values.
Yes, they're rude a-holes, and they probably don't even think stealing secrets is wrong.
That's an interesting concept.
In fact, tomorrow...
it actually applies to Marxist philosophy.
Oh?
Well, I went to Russia once, and I was given a lot of lectures. I've been to China a dozen times, but there's one kind of thing that keeps cropping up. They always believe, and I think the Chinese more so than the Russians, that intellectual property is the property of the public.
Huh.
And it's for the good of the public. So anything you have this intellectual, you want to just take a copy, make a better version, you want to do something else, it doesn't make any difference because it benefits the public. And China is actually proving it. Their public is benefiting from them stealing all this stuff.
Interesting.
And they've got an economy that's really booming, and we're kind of backwards about this. We're old-fashioned. No, you can't do that.
That's right, but just like cutting in line, they don't even see that it's wrong.
They might not.
So
we have to keep telling them about it.
Yeah, well, I think that if someone cuts in line, and we'll be out here tomorrow as well, I'm going to say, hey, don't cut in line and stop stealing our secrets.
There you go. Is exactly what you should say.
I'm going to do that. Damn thieves.
So sharing our values may actually be the code word for cutting in line.
Well, that's certainly a value that they don't seem to share. And also personal space.
Their idea is that there's a spot. You're standing in line.
Yes.
And you're not.
You've let a gap. You've let a gap.
Up against somebody's butt.
Yeah. You're not.
If there's a little room in front between you and the person's butt in front of you, they see that as an opportunity.
So that's the same with the islands in the South China Sea. They're just like, But they don't see any problem. They don't have the same morality. This is quite a discovery. There's no reason why you can't take that values statement from cutting in line to stealing and capturing and, God knows, killing.
They don't share our values. That's exactly what he said.
Don't share our values.
But then to stick it to Trump, because the fact of the matter,
woo,
almost, but not quite. The reality is that ZTE thing, if they would have put the screws to them, it could have collapsed the Chinese economy and brought us down with it.
Yep.
We cannot let the Chinese economy. This is to be straight about this. These guys are. I hate these news people. The Chinese economy is at a point where we're not at the point where we could survive a
Chinese
collapse.
No,
economy without
we're not.
affecting us. We have to get ourselves to that point. That's what I think they're trying to do, but there's so much resistance on the Democrat side that it's never going to – we're always going to be subservient to the Chinese if things keep going this way. So that's why Trump did that. He's not a big pro-China guy.
I guess he knows them.
They're cutting line on him.
Yeah, they're cutting the line cutters. They don't share our values.
I do have the ISO from that clip. Corn seed.
Is this an end of show ISO?
What do you mean corn seed? They're trying to steal our corn seed?
See, they'll steal anything. If it's not nailed down, they'll steal it. Damn Chinese. I'm becoming xenophobic.
So somebody put this collection together and it got passed around. It hasn't been on. I was expected to be on some of the comedy shows. I think the problem is if you're going to put these clip collections together about something that's Trump usually, you have to make it a tight package. It's got to be.
It's got to be tight. Yeah.
10 seconds. This is 2 minutes. And this is 2 minutes. This is Trump's bit. He does this. This is one of his bits. If anyone's listened to his speeches, more than one of his speeches. If you listen to one speech, you're not going to notice it. But if you listen to more than one speech, you're going to find 5 or 6 thematic jokes. These are jokes. They're counted as lies by the fact checkers.
And wait a minute, where's this from? Where's this package from?
This package is from Here and Now or some little website that puts these together. It's a bunch of Democrats that are trying to humiliate Trump, but it's very well done. And so this is Trump and he says this one thing about the 401k, and every time he goes to the next city, he modifies it a little bit. Of course, that counts as another lie, but he keeps modifying this gag to see what gets the best response, like any comic would do.
Over the weekend, I was in New York City, and I love to say hello to our folks in uniform, whether it's the military, whether it's law enforcement. And we had people backstage, and I always want to take my time. And a man comes up. He was a police officer in New York City. First time anyone said this to me, he said, "Mr. President, I want to thank you. My family thinks I'm a financial genius. My 401k is up 39% in 9 months." I met last week in New York City with a very, very fine group of policemen, and they were all so happy about their 401ks. They feel like they're geniuses because in one case he said, "I'm up 39%. He said, "My 401k is up 39%. It's so good." And I love the policemen. I love the firemen. They're great. Right? Woo! And they're always coming up and saying, "Sir, thank you very much. My 401k is up 41%. My wife thinks I'm a genius." The first one came up to me and said, "Mr. President, I want to thank you so much." I said, "What did I do?" He said, "My 401k is up 44%. And my wife thinks I'm, for the first time, a financial genius. She's giving him all the credit." And he said, "Sir, I want to thank you. You've made me a hero to my wife and to my family. I've always been a horrible investor. But this year, my 401k, think of it, is up like 46%, I think he said." People, they come to me all the time and they say, "Thank you so much. I'm up 42%, I'm up 48%, I'm up 37%. And my wife or my husband thinks I'm a total genius as an investor." And one policeman comes up, good-looking guy, says, "You know, my wife always thought I was a financial loser. And I have a 401k. And, sir,
I'm up 49% this year. She thinks I'm a business genius. So,
lies. All lies. All lies. I got to tell you, I am a certified non-financial genius. And I thank you, Mr. Trump. My future wife's 401k is up 50%. Woohoo!
There you go.
My goodness, that's pretty funny. Hey, tell me about this. Tell me about these, because we're getting towards the end here. What is up with these buildings exploding, gas explosions, which is not an easy thing to happen.
One clip.
Okay.
I do have one clip, but before I want to put one more entry into the ISO contest, which is floodwaters.
Okay.
Floodwaters are rising.
Okay,
I like the corn better. I think that's better.
The corn is better. You're right.
Corn is better.
That's why I wanted to check it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let's play this clip. These gas explosions, mostly over Massachusetts, and there's a piece of information in here I didn't know.
We knew there was a buildup of gas pressure in the pipes here that caused the explosions and fires. The NTSB now saying that problem was detected beforehand at a monitoring station in Columbus, Ohio. Investigators looking into how the local gas company here responded to what sounds like a warning of a potential problem, as residents here continue dealing with this disaster. It was the only house in the entire neighborhood that exploded and burned. And it belongs to Officer Ivan Soto of the Lawrence Police, who was eerily at the center of the tragic events that unfolded all over the Boston suburbs this week.
It's surreal. It's, to me, it's not even real. I feel like this is
Johnny Depp.
A dream.
On duty when the gas fires erupted, he was amongst the first to respond to calls for help.
Oh.
He was there with Leo Rondon, the teenager crushed to death in his car by a fallen chimney.
We tried to take the chimney off. We tried everything we could.
And while helping others, the tragedy engulfed his own family, his daughter in their house when the fire started.
I called her just in time. She felt the first explosion. She got out, ran across the street. Neighbors consoled her.
Today, he returned for the first time. So you're trying to save a life. You're worried about your daughter. And this is happening to your home all at the same time.
That's correct.
Now, they turned this story, which seems kind of interesting or should be, into a human interest story about some guy. Now, they don't do any of this. Why does Columbus, Ohio control the gas going into Massachusetts? And there are things called regulators on these systems and relief valves.
Yeah.
These things weren't employed. What is going on? This story, this looks like terrorism to me.
That's what I thought.
And it's like happening all, like a bunch of places all at once in the same areas. All their gas pressures went way up for some reason. Somebody online said it might be Stuxnet being aimed at us.
Are these regulators in the home? Are they controllable?
No. The main guys, before they send gas out, they're not just sending it at any old random pressure.
Mm-hmm. Right, the regulators
in the home that I know of. I mean, you have a gas meter. I suppose that's some sort of a regulator. It's not going to let things. I mean, the whole thing is very sketchy, and there's nobody talking about it. I was thinking this. Everybody around here thinks the same thing with these fires. 1 million fires in California everywhere, just bang, 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 just random all over the place without lightning storms or anything causing them. These are all just dry fires. And it looks like terrorism, but nobody wants to even bring the T word into the conversation.
But at least our 401ks are up 39%.
They are 50% for New York.
I got a clip. I got the same kind of human interest story.
What's going on? Really, seriously, what's going on? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows what's next, including Bob Elbrecht as he sits on the steps of his North Andover home for the last 10 years. Columbia Gas and National Grid came by Friday afternoon to turn everything off. But when will it come back on? He has no idea.
You're kind of limbo. So is it tomorrow? Is it 5 days? Is it a week? So we have no idea.
His neighborhood is quiet, a stark contrast from downtown North Andover when a Columbia Gas representative came to town this morning.
That it's a little bit of a concern. Can you speak to that? They'll explain all that to you when they come up.
You guys are kind of like deflecting every question.
Answer questions if they might have, or take their questions, and we'll have someone get back.
When is it going to come back?
Who's going to answer those questions? Elbrecht understands his neighbor's outrage at the gas company and says it's justified.
I mean, it's shameful. They really should be ashamed. And somebody needs to be held accountable. People died in this. People have lost their homes. People are being displaced and are still displaced. I'm fortunate, but it's horrific.
Did I read somewhere that there's a gas union workers issue going on?
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, we may have to look in. I thought there was somewhere I read about some union lockout or something was happening. I don't want to blame it on union workers per se, but I mean,
well, something's amiss with the reporting on this.
It's not easy for a house just to blow up from gas. I tell you, I mean, it's not easy.
Out of the blue.
No, 23, 24 of them. How many have blown up?
Yeah,
it's
a bunch
nuts.
of them blew up. Or caught on fire, at least.
Oh, man, can't they just find a way to blame Trump? Then at least we can have a story.
Well, I'm surprised they haven't blamed Trump already.
Let me see what people are saying. Yes, according to the... okay, I'm just looking at the troll room here for a second. Looks like, there may be a contract dispute. Pretty hardcore, though, if that's the level we're going to for a contract.
In the olden days, dispute. It wouldn't be.
Well, how olden days are we talking?
30s.
Okay. Well.
All right, well, let's move to... We let that sit because we don't know
anything. We
don't
know. We just don't know. No.
Let's go to you got to at least get Manafort out of the way.
Now, I read everywhere because I'm on remote here. I'm in a different country. And
so they're going to feed you the real good propaganda.
Yes. Manafort has flipped. Trump is going down. Film at 11.
He's flipped.
He's flipped. He's going to help Mueller. Flip. Okay. We have a clip?
All right, let's play the first clip.
Clip.
Paul Manafort, the president's former campaign chairman, has accepted a plea deal. It follows months of refusals by Manafort, who is now the fifth person linked to Mr. Trump, to plead guilty to criminal charges. Errol Barnett's at the White House with the latest. Errol, good morning.
Good morning. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says Friday's developments have nothing to do with the president or with the 2016 election. The White House trying to distance itself from the former Trump aide. But with midterm elections fast approaching, that will prove to be increasingly difficult as Special Counsel Robert Mueller gains yet another willing cooperator from the center of the Trump election strategy.
He happens to be a very good person, and I think it's very sad what they've done to Paul Manafort.
Over the last few months, President Trump repeatedly defended the character of the man chosen to chair his election efforts, while lamenting the existence of the special counsel probe. Late Friday, echoing that sentiment, telling the Wall Street Journal, quote, "I got hit with an artificial witch hunt that should never have happened."
No chance.
Reversing his previous claim Manafort would not flip, attorney Kevin Downing said Friday Manafort's wife and two daughters were at the center of his decision to share what he knows.
He wanted to make sure that his family was able to remain safe and live a good life.
Okay.
I thought that the key to this thing was at the end when the lawyer says it was about his family wanting to remain safe.
Yeah.
It's like what happens with the mob. Hey, if you talk, you're going to end up, you got to get little kid Billy. It's got Billy, right? You got Billy and Lucy. You got Lucy. She's like,
someone's threatening his family if he doesn't flip.
What did that sound like to you?
It sounded like it to me. That's not the way the news interpreted it, but yeah.
That's what it sounds like. What else would the guy even say that for?
Especially a guy like him who looks kind of gangstery.
So let's play the second half.
In a D.C. federal courtroom, Manafort pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts stemming from his foreign lobbying, but is also agreeing to assist the special counsel significantly, cooperating fully, truthfully, completely, and forthrightly, including sharing any knowledge of all criminal activity and all documents relevant to the counsel's questions. He also agreed to testify at any proceeding. Manafort could answer questions surrounding the infamous Trump Tower meeting in 2016, one President Trump initially said was about adoptions, but Mr. Trump's personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani admitted was intended to discuss an exchange of dirt on Hillary Clinton. Manafort now joins several others from the president's orbit who have pleaded guilty to a crime and offered up what they know to the special counsel.
They pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI.
Yeah. Yeah.
They always they always use the word crime. It is a crime. So is actually letting your parking meter run out. That's a crime. You're violating the law.
Yep. Well,
he committed a crime last week
like
here in the city.
Like Martha Stewart.
Right before everybody.
Like Martha Stewart. She went to jail for it.
Yeah, she went to jail for lying to the FBI.
Yes. Well, with matters of this, this is a little above our pay grade, which, let's face it, when you're a podcaster, a lot is above your pay grade.
Almost everything.
But we do like to go to the constitutional lawyer we trust the most, who happens to be a liberal and a Democrat, and his name is Alan Dershowitz. And he was invited on MSNBC to give his opinion of this flipping. Ben, here's what he said.
You have the special counsel, Robert Mueller, who was put in place to look into this issue of Russian influence, Russian involvement in the 2016 presidential campaign, any potential ties between the Trump campaign and Russians in 2016. And now you've got this plea agreement featuring the man who was running for a time the Trump campaign. Is that something the White House should be alarmed about right now?
Well, of course they should be. There's nothing that he can testify to that would probably lend weight to impeachment, because he didn't really have close contact with President Trump while he was president, but he did have contact during the campaign. Tough question whether or not alleged crimes committed to get somebody elected president is an impeachable offense or not. We don't know the answer to that. And perhaps he can give them information prior about his business dealings. Remember, he's not a credible witness. He's pleaded guilty to obstruction of justice, to lying. He's changed his story repeatedly. But what they're looking for is self-corroborating information to be used against Trump. Look, this validates what Judge Ellis said on day one. Judge Ellis said they're not interested so much in Manafort for Manafort. Obviously, he's committed crimes, but they're interested in him primarily to see if they can, and this is him talking, Judge Ellis, if they can make him sing, and then there's also the possibility of him composing, that is elaborating on the story.
I'm curious, I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this then, because there seems to be some confusion here about what potentially...
You're not giving me the answer I want to hear.
...he would be cooperating with when it comes to Mueller. Your assumption or your sense of this, though, is that Mueller's interest would be Trump.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. And I think once he agrees to cooperate, he has to cooperate about everything. There's no such thing as partial cooperation. The question is, did he cooperate too late? Would he have been better off cooperating before his first trial? I think he was perhaps hoping for a pardon. And then the question comes up, did the president act too late? If he was going to pardon, he'd have been much better off pardoning early rather than until he's already cooperated. So I don't think we're going to see any kind of a pardon at this point. I think we're going to see cooperation, and it remains to be seen whether the cooperation will help the special prosecutor, will help the U.S. attorney in the Southern District. That remains to be seen.
Yeah, so far, all I see is Manafort being linked to the Podesta group. This doesn't seem like this is going the way everybody will want it to go.
Well, as in the newsletter, I pointed out that it turns out that Manafort is quite closely connected with Obama.
Yeah. What was that? There was someone of his clients wound up in the Oval Office. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, with Manafort, Obama, and Biden. Yeah, it was right. People should subscribe to the newsletter for these tidbits.
Yes. You get fun photos and fun facts.
And a lot of fun photos, and you get to see Adam with a
bra
T-shirt that needs washing.
All right, two things before we go. One, we have reached total insanity with this white power signal, hand signal, which is an okay.
What is it?
Well, you just do an okay sign with your three fingers up.
That means 3-point shot in NBA parlance.
Yeah,
all the players do that.
Yeah, but but they can't be racist because all the NBA players are black. So no. But they had one guy, there was a live shot. I'm surprised you haven't seen this. There was a live shot of the Coast Guard, and the guy's talking, and there's some interview going on in the background. A guy brushes his hair back and then doesn't you can clearly see for maybe half a second or a second. It's the 3-point shot thing as he strokes his hair or something. And immediately everyone freaks out. Oh, he's flashing the white power hand signal. The guy gets removed from duty and an investigation has started.
What?
Yeah, you should look at the tweet I sent out yesterday. I was watching German TV over here, and this crazy German singer does an okay sign. And it's like, oh, there it is. It's spreading. It's here.
It's just the okay sign.
No, it's white power, baby.
Yeah, that's what you do. You subvert you subvert the language, you subvert the signal, you subvert everything.
Everything is upside down.
Yeah, it's co-opting the O. You can't say okay now anymore. Okay, good for you.
No, if you say okay, you're right. If you say okay, it'll be an abstraction of the white power
So,
signal.
yeah, you can't even say okay anymore.
Yeah, can't. Okay. Oh, white supremacist. And then finally, this I think will come back to haunt her. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, our favorite Democratic socialist, did a photo shoot. I don't know what magazine it was for. And as one does often for a photo shoot, you put on some spiffy clothes as a stylist who comes along. And I have to say, the outfit she had on, which was pants and a jacket, was very snazzy looking. Looks great on her. She reminds me so much of Huma. Of Huma Abedin.
Yes, I agree.
So incredible. I remember
She's
Uma,
just kind of a variation of Uma.
Yeah. Remember Uma did the Vogue shoot?
Yeah.
Very similar to this. So she had her pantsuit, which retails for $2,800, and she had $600 shoes on. And, of course, everyone's like, socialist. You know, the typical stuff, especially Fox. But then here's the thing. Here's the egregious part. She then tweets and says, you don't get to keep the clothes after a photo shoot, duh. How tone deaf are you if you don't understand that as a politician representing democratic socialist values, the mere fact that you're wearing the suit is an issue? You need to wear, a sorghum sack.
Yeah, fatigues.
Fatigues. Anything but,
used fatigues from China.
Anything but $3,000. Anything but $3,000 worth of stuff. And she really doesn't understand. I don't think she understands.
She's dumb. Come on.
Well, I don't.
She's very stupid. She's not a very wise. She's not. She hasn't got much going on.
She's out of her league. Ow! That hurt my ears. She's out of her league. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. You can't leave without me playing my one clip.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shorty.
Your one clip. You're Shorty. Let's do it.
This bugged me. This is the AN-225 clip.
Well, a plane full of supplies is heading to Hawaii before Hurricane Olivia. Sky 7 was above as the 6-engine Ukrainian-designed plane, and AN-225, touched down on the runway with a maximum takeoff weight of 640 tons. It is the heaviest plane ever built. This thing is massive. The jet is loaded with FEMA relief supplies. Look at this thing climb into the air, lumbering into the air. Hurricane Olivia is expected to hit midweek. The plane then goes to Guam, which is threatened by a typhoon.
Is it Antonov? Antonov 225?
Yeah, the big Antonov, the big one, not the regular little big giant one.
This has 12 engines.
It's got 6.
It does. No, I'm not kidding. I think it has 12 engines.
It's got 6 engines. And a split tail, and it's huge. And it was landing in Oakland to pick up. Oakland is always accommodating the Antonov company. They're always landing one of their big planes here, but they never landed this monster here before. Once they landed it, and the guy landed, it's a 6,500-foot runway, and they landed it about 4,000 feet in and turned off on the first turnoff. The guy's a really good pilot. And then they fill it up with some fuel and took off again, which is annoying because they could have told us. The foamers would be loving to see this thing come in.
Yeah, they could have given us a heads up.
And it was painted in all kinds of weird colors. It wasn't even the normal old paint. It's a new style of paint in yellow and blue and the Ukrainian colors. It's beautiful.
So when he said Ukrainian design, he meant the color scheme, not the plane itself.
No, the plane. No. Antonov's in it's in Ukraine.
No, I didn't know. I thought it was Russian.
No, it's always been Ukraine. It's like one of the
who's the airman
here?
Sore
points about the fact they lost these guys, but after they land this thing it's got
that is pretty. I'm looking at it right now.
14, 20. It's got like 28 wheels on the bottom
and 18 engines, but only on Thursdays.
And it comes in after they land this thing. They have to send out an inspection crew to check the runway.
Yeah. Wow, that thing is cool, isn't it? It has 6 engines, and it does have the split tail. That thing is fantastic. Yeah. That is kind of mean, isn't it? They should have given a heads up.
This is the kind of news coverage we get around here. After it takes off, we get the report.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure they'll do something about it for you now.
No, they won't.
No, probably not. Listen, our next show, which is on Thursday, as it always is, will be coming to you from the Netherlands. And that will be the last show before we head back. Well, Of course, you never know. Just keep your eye on the Twitter for the pictures tomorrow. Here today, gone tomorrow. Nice working with you, John.
You might be back next week.
In a different dimension.
Well, yeah, but you can report. Well, maybe, I don't know what you're going to do.
Heading off to the Large Hadron Collider, everybody. You never know what could happen. And with that, we come to the close of this episode of the best podcast in the universe, partially from northern Silicon Valley and from Fat Cat City here, Luzerne, Switzerland. And I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I remain. Although I'm going to leave the house today, I think. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday right here on No Agenda. Until then, in the morning, and adios, mofos.
Donate to No Agenda. They give us shows week after week. Donate to No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique.
They have their own agenda.
Is San Francisco better off covered in hypodermic needles and human waste?
I like space exploration, Space Force.
Yup. This is it. If not, tell us why and be specific.
This is about getting rid of a common sense of truth.
Collusion.
And their agenda is not your agenda.
Collusion.
To serve a tiny pool of tech oligarchs.
Everything is conspiring together. Collusion. Why do we need the Space Force?
If not, tell us why and be specific.
Yup. This is it.
Handful of tech monopolies.
Space Force.
I got ants. I got ants. I don't know if we had ants. We had ant invasion. I was thinking if you desiccated a big pile of ants and then ground them to a powder like a fine grind black pepper, we were having dinner and I got an ant somehow in the meal and I ate it. These things are peppery. I got ants. I got ants. These ants, they don't need a lot. And then you find all the ones that are roaming around. I backed them off by doing the burning trick. You just torch them. And you leave them there. The only ant, there are occasional moments where there's an ant that you do not torch, and that's an ant that's carrying one of the dead ants back. I got ants. I got ants. I got ants. I got ants. 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 Ants.
Okay. I've been waiting for this moment for months, and it's finally here. I'm finally going to get a heritage unit on camera. Yeah! All right. Look at that. A 1953 E8. Woo-hoo! Oh, yeah. Listen to that bell. Yeah, listen to that bell. Oh, take a look at that. Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn! Oh, my God! Oh, she's beautiful! She is beautiful! Yeah! All right! Oh, my... Oh, no, it's a BL2, too! Oh, the SNC 52! Oh, my God! Oh, we're going to watch this. Oh, this is special. This is special. Oh, that horn gives me the chills. Oh, and the chills have absolutely nothing to do with how cold it is here. But that doesn't stop a foamer. Oh, especially when it comes to heritage equipment. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Blue and gray. Oh, coupled to the Iowa Pacific, number 518. Woo-hoo! Woo! Listen to that horn. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh, look at that. All right. Yeah, I wonder who TC Durant is. Oh well. This is just awesome. I've been waiting for this for months. Look at that. Illinois Central livery. Right here in North Creek. That is awesome.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
What do you mean corn seed? They're trying to steal our corn seed?